So today's session is on percentages, profit loss, SICI ratios, mixtures, wherein we'll discuss concepts and solve a few questions. Coming to percentages, what according to you is percentage?
Percentage is defined as something upon 100.
Anything with respect to 100. If I
Yes,
say 25%, so this percentage sign means this. So if I'm saying 25%, so I'm saying 25 by 100. If I reduce this, it will come down to 1 by 4. Similarly, 125% would be 125 per 100, which is nothing but 5 by 4. All right. So
yes,
this is, let's say, fraction form, and let's say this is percentage form.
percentage form.
Okay. Similarly, this fraction 1 by 4 could be written as 0.25. Similarly, 5 by 4 can be written as 1.25. That
1.25.
means there is a relationship between percentage, fraction, and decimal, right? If I'm saying, let's say 25%, I mean to say 1 by 4. I also mean to say 0.25.
Yes,
Important. Let's see its application. I've given certain percentage, for example, fraction 1 upon 1. If I'm
100%.
writing 100%, and if I reduce it, I'll get 100 upon 100, which is nothing but 1 by 1.
1 by 1%.
So this is not 100. Actually, this is 100 and percent. This is something like this. Okay, but
Hmm.
percentage I have taken common and written here. So 100% is equivalent to 1 by 1.
Yes,
That means if I'm going from left hand side to right hand side, what am I doing? I'm dividing the quantity by 100.
100.
Similarly, if I'm going from right hand side to left hand side, what am I doing? 1 and 100. I'm multiplying by 100. Is this point clear?
Yes,
That means if I have a fraction, for example, 1 upon 45, for example, okay? And if I were to find the percentage value of this, I should be multiplying this thing by 100 to get the equivalent percentage.
hmm.
Similarly, if I have a percentage, for example, 145%, and I need to find the fraction form of it, what will I be doing?
Divide by 100.
Divide by 100. This would be 145 by 100. So, and let's say if there's one more column on decimal, so 1 upon 1 would be 1.00. Similarly, 1 by 2 would be zero point 0.5, 1 by 3 would be 0.33. So all these three things are same.
Hmm.
But please remember 1 by 3, or let's say 1 by 2 or 1 by 1, 1 by 3 is not equivalent to 33.33. What am I missing here?
0.3333. It's not into 100%.
1 by 3 would be 33.33%. Shouldn't forget the sign.
Yes, yes.
That's important. And I have provided fractions. I have provided fractions from 1 by 1 to 1 by 12. See, 1 by 1, 1 by 2. How will you find 1 by 7? You multiply this quantity by 100 and you'll get 14.28.
Yes,
Similarly, 1 by 12, you multiply by 100. So you need to remember fractions 1 by 13, 1 by 14 till 1 by 20.
yes. I have made a chart till 1 by 20.
And similarly, relations, for example, 1 by 4 is equivalent to 1 by 4 is equivalent to 25%. For example, you need to find 1 by 8. What operation can you do here so as to get a 1 by 8?
And they multiply by 1 by 2.
If I multiply by 1 by 2, so this side will also get multiplied by 1 by 2 and I'll get
Yeah,
12.5%.
sorry. Yes, 12.5.
Similarly, from 1 by 3, if I want a 1 by 9, I need to multiply by 1 by 3.
Yes.
Okay, so these are related. In that manner, you can remember there's one important relation as well. For example, A
A
percent of
percent
B.
of B is equal to B percent of A.
How will you write A percent of B? A percent would be, we have seen A by
By
100. How
100
stands for
of something.
multiplication.
Yes.
This is AB by 100. Let's see B percent of A.
Same. B upon 100 into A. So BA or AB by 100.
Same thing. That's why I'm saying A percent of B is equal to B percent of A.
Yes.
How could this be used? This is an example that I've provided. For example, if you are asked 120% of 25, okay,
Hmm.
rather than seeing it like this, can I
Hmm.
see
25%
25%
of
of
120.
120? Because you know 25% is,
1 by 4.
so one fourth of 120 would be 30.
30.
Similarly, if I ask you 1 to 123% of, let's say, 33.33, what will be this value?
So we can do 33.33% of 123 instead,
Hmm.
which is 1 by 3 of 123,
Which is
which is 41.
good. For example, if I were to calculate, let's say 100% of 120,
Hmm.
how will you do it?
120. 1 by 1 of 120.
So if 100% is equivalent to 1, then
Hmm.
let's say 200% would be equivalent to
2.
500% would be equivalent to
5.
550% would be equivalent to
5.5.
good. Similarly, 50% would be half of 120.
Yes, 1 by 2.
Similarly, 83.33% would be
5 by 6
50% plus
plus
30,
33.33%.
1 by 2 plus 1 by 3, which is nothing but 5 by 6.
Yes.
5 by 6 of 120. So 620, 20 into 5 is 100. Similarly, 66.66% would be. These are
2
all
by 2.
important fractions that you should remember,
Yeah. So 66.66% is 2 by 3 of 120.
which is 80. Similarly, 150% would be 3 by 2.
2 by 5.
Similarly, 10% would be 1
1 by 10
10. Similarly, 175% would be,
would be 7 by 4.
if you do not know, let's say 25% into 7 is 175.
Hmm. 1 by
25% is
4 into
12.
7.
So this would be 7 by 4 of 1.
Or 100% plus 75%.
Whatever. So whatever simplification you can do,
Yeah.
100% is 1, 75% is 3 by 4, which is also 7 by 4. Is this point clear?
Yeah.
See, I've written this in bold.
Yes.
Using decimal fractions interchangeably, that would mean, let's say if I'm writing 150%, in some cases I'll use 150% is equal to 3 by 2. In some cases, I'll use 150% is equal to 1 by 5, 1.5, depending on the question.
Hmm.
Depending on the question. But you can use any of the forms.
Yes.
And the values that are important, these are the values that are important. For example, 80%, you should remember, 60% remember, 133.33% fractional values, you should remember,
Hmm.
3%, 150%, 250%, let's say 11.19%, 33.33%, 66.66%, 120%, 125%, 75%. These are all values of percentage. Their equivalent fractions you should remember because
Hmm.
this might come handy in any questions.
Hmm. I've made even even longer list of such percentages and fractions.
Got it. Keep revising. Keep
Yeah,
revising.
yeah.
Only four ways in which a question on percentage can be asked. Say two values are given, A is equal to 4, B is equal to 5.
Hmm.
So let's change the values. Let's say A is equal to 1 and let's say B is equal to 2. If I say A is what percentage of B? First of all, try finding what the base is.
Basis B
Ba-
here.
Base will come in the denominator.
Yes.
So, and in the numerator, what will come? The value that needs to be compared.
Hmm.
So, answer to any of these questions would be value
Value upon
compared
base.
divided by base into 100. See, if you already know the fraction, then you
Hmm.
don't need to do into 100. For example, if you know 1 by 2, for example, if
Hmm.
answer is coming 1 by 2, then you can directly write 50%.
Yes.
Then you do not need to do 1. And if you're doing 1 by 2 into 100, you should write 50 and not 50%.
Hmm.
If I'm saying 1 by 2, that is equivalent to 50%. But if I'm saying 1 by 2 into 100, that is equivalent to 50.
But we usually multiply by 100 to derive to percentage, no?
That is
So
okay.
shouldn't we be writing a percentage?
No, if you're saying 1 by 3 into 100,
Hmm.
please tell me 1 by 3 into 100, is it 33.33 or is it 33.33%?
If we are multiplying by 100 to convert into percentage, then 33.33%.
Mhm. It should be 1 by, see, this is the percentage value, but you
Hmm.
can't write 33.33 percentage here. Why? See, 1 by 3 into 100 is 30. See, left hand side should be equal to right hand side.
Yes.
So left hand side, you have 33.33. So on right hand side, it should be 33.3. But if
Hmm.
I'm saying, let's say 1 by 2, which is equivalent to 0.5,
Hmm.
hence on the right hand side, it should be 50%.
Hmm.
Are you getting?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. It won't, both the sides won't be comparable then or
correct,
equivalent.
correct. So, for example, first question, A is what percentage of B? What is the value that is getting compared? The value of A. So I'll write in the numerator the value of A with respect to what? The value of B. If I know the fraction, let's say, do I know the fraction?
Yes.
If I did not, I'll multiply by 100. Okay. So
Yes.
1 by 2 is equivalent to,
50% or 50.
so I can write A is 50% of B. Similarly, base is A here. I
Hmm.
can write B by
B
A.
upon A. So 2 by 1 into 100 is 200.
2 by 1 is nothing but 2 by 1 into 100, you could do 200.
Hmm.
If I am doing 1 by 2 into 100, then I'll just write 50. But
Yes.
your answer would be A is what percent? A is
50%.
50%. Okay. Similarly, B by into 100. If I'm doing 2 by 1 into 100, then your answer is 200. I'll write B is
200% of A.
200% of it. Now, these two questions are the same, as in you can use the same concept here,
Hmm.
but you should think about the numerator properly. What is the question saying? A is the question saying A is what percentage of B?
Mm-hmm. It's
Question is
asking A is what percentage less than B. So we
A is
need
what
to
percentage
take
less
the
than
difference upon the
B?
base.
So you can think with respect to this question like this. First of all, think A is what less than B.
Hmm.
This is the value that is getting compared. This is the value that is getting compared with respect to what is the base?
B.
Value upon base. And try taking positive difference.
Hmm.
Don't worry whether A is greater or B is greater. If the question is saying A is what percent, A is what less than B? See, A is 1, B is 2. So can you say A is 1 less than B?
Yes.
And how did this 1 come into existence?
B 2 minus 1.
2 minus 1 upon what was the base? B
B 2.
into 100. So variable wise, can I write B minus A upon B?
B into 100.
And this value would be?
50%
So A is 50% less than.
in B.
See, sometimes if you were to make an equation, A is what percent less than B, then you'll write A is X% less than B. Can you write this equation mathematically?
Yes.
A is
X
X% less, X% of what?
B.
And this value is less than what? B, right?
Yes.
So I'll write this. A is equal to B minus X% of B. If you calculate, you'll get the same value. I'll do the calculation for you. Let's say A comes to the right, B minus A. This comes to the left, you'll get X% of B. And then you'll get X is equal to B minus A upon B. Percentage is divided by 100.
Multiply by 100.
This is how you make equation out of it.
Yes.
Similarly, B is what percent more than A? You should think first, B is what more than A?
Hmm. So again, B minus A or
This,
A minus
this,
B.
this is the value that we are comparing,
Hmm.
okay, divided by the base. What is that value? Again, 2 minus 1. But the
Upon
base here
A.
changed,
Yes. Yes. 1 into 100.
which is
100%.
100. So B is 100% more than A.
Yeah.
See, one very important thing. See, the values are not changing. A is
Yes.
equal to 1, B is equal to 2.
Hmm.
If we are good with, concepts, then
Hmm.
percentage will never be a challenge. And percentage is a topic that could come anywhere. In any
Hmm.
topic, it could come.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be part of any, it could be combined with any topic, per se.
Any topic. So if you are good with percentages, I think overall in quants, you would be good.
Hmm.
This is what my belief is. I've seen students who are good at arithmetic, students who are good at arithmetic, they are good mostly with quants.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now compare these relations. Let's say A is 50% of B and
Hmm.
A is 50% less than B. Aren't these two relations same? Similarly, these two relations. This is one way of saying B is 200% of A,
Hmm.
or you could also say if B is 200% of A, can I
Hmm.
also say B is 100% more than A?
Yeah.
Similarly, if we are saying A is 50% of B, see by
Hmm.
this statement, what do you understand? Which is greater? A is greater or B is greater?
B is greater
Why?
because A is half of B or 50% of B. Like it's a smaller number.
है ना? That means B is greater. So can I say A is definitely less than B? So if A is 50% of B, I can
Hmm.
say that A is 50% less than B.
Yes.
So we can use this application anywhere. If it is given in the question, let's say B is 125% more than A.
So B is 225% of A. 100.
125% more with respect to this value.
Which is 100% itself.
Let's say B is 100. If it was given B is 100% more than A, then
Hmm.
if this value is, let's say, 100, this is
Hmm.
100% more,
Hmm.
which is 200%.
100%. Yeah.
So B is 225%. That means here, which is greater if I'm saying B is 100% more than A. So for example, this was A, and the question is saying the value of B is Again, 100% more, as in this is the more part, right? If this
Hmm.
is B and this is A, this is 100% more than A.
Yes.
So if this is 100% A, this is also 100% of A. Can I write B is 200%? 200% of A. Similarly, if B is 125% more than A, I can write B is, in my
Two
mind, I'll do 100% plus
plus
1.
125. 225% of B. A.
Important relation. If
Yeah.
I'm saying A is 80% of B, another way of writing this would be A is what percentage less than B?
20%. Since B is 100 and A is 80.
If you take this as 100, this would be 80. So there is a difference of 20.
Yes.
So percentage wise, 20 upon 100. So
So to form equations or to solve questions, they could be used interchangeably.
absolutely, yes. This is what I've shown. A is
Hmm.
80% of B is the same as saying A is 20% less,
20% less than B. Yeah.
and vice versa. A is 20% less than B would mean A is 80% of B. Similarly, B is 125% of A would mean B is 25
25% more than A.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
All right. Here,
Hmm.
example. If a question says A is 40% of B, then the question is actually saying A is
A is 60% less than B.
if a question is saying A is 30% less than B, then it is also saying A is.
A is 70% less than B.
Similarly, here, if the question is saying B is 140% of A, another way of saying B is
40% more than A.
question says B is 50% more than
So B is 150% of A.
A. Is this clear?
Yes.
Good. This is very important. I would say this slide is very important.
Hmm.
Try writing equation as in if x is increased by 10%, how will you write this information mathematically? X is increased by
10,
10%. And
10% of X.
x is increased by 10%. So 10% of what? So the subtle information that is provided in this statement is x is increased by 10% of itself or
Hmm.
10% of x. So you
Hmm.
should miss out on this.
Yes.
This would be x bracket 1 plus 10%.
Yes.
Similarly, I'm going to skip this step now.
Hmm.
X is decreased by 10%. Can I write directly x bracket?
Minus 10, 1 into 10%.
You could write this as maybe 10% is 1 plus 1 by
But
10. Write this as 11 by 10. You could also write this as 1.1.
simply 1.1.
Similarly, this would be 9 by 10.
9 by 10 or 0.9.
0. Challenge in this, let's say, always visualize, try making a diagram. X is increased by 10%. Some value came. And
Hmm.
then the new value is decreased by 10%. What will be the value of this? As we have already found out, x is increased by 10% would be.
X into 1 plus 10%.
Hmm. Now this
This
whole
will
value, you consider this value as y, for example.
hmm.
This value is decreased by 10%. Can I write the value
Y
of y is
into
decreased by,
1 minus 10%.
and what is the value of y?
X into 1 plus 10%.
1 minus 10%. Similarly,
Yes.
if there is a series of values increasing, as in let's say if this is a
Hmm.
got increased by, let's say, 33.33%, then got decreased by 10%, then got increased by 10%, then got increased by 40%, which would give you B. How will you write this?
So A into
In
1
this
plus,
10% increase, you have written 10% increase. 10% decrease, you have written 10% decrease.
yes,
Similarly, this
A into 1 plus 33.33%.
you have reached here.
Yes,
Now this value is decreased by 10%. This
yes,
whole value is decreased by 10%.
into 1 minus 10%.
Now you have reached here. This is
Yes,
the value. This value is getting increased by
so into 1 plus 10%.
10%. Now you
Yeah.
have reached here,
S-
and this value now is increased by
Into 1 plus 40% is equal to B.
is equal to B. Very good. Very good. Similarly, x is increased by 350%. X 1 plus 350%.
350%,
1 is equivalent to 100%. So this would be
450% of X.
very good. I would say this is very important. Don't forget.
Yeah,
Also tell me if the initial population of a town is something and it is increasing, let's say X percent,
per annum. Hmm.
then the population after n years, for example, first year, second year, it is also increasing and X percent, say after nth year, nth year, population is X percent. Then I need to find this, let's say population after n years. How will I write the same thing?
So P into 1 plus X%.
How many times? It would be 1 plus X percent, 1 plus X percent,
Yeah.
so on.
So
How many
nth
times?
times.
N times is equal to population after n years. Can I
So
say
P into 1 plus X% to the power N is equal to population now.
you need population now? So population now would be population initial.
Initially into 1 plus X% to the power N.
The same thing. What is it saying?
If the final population of a town is P and it has increased by X% per annum for the past N years, then the population N years ago will be. So we
It's a
have to
population n
reverse
years
calculate.
ago, let's say initially.
Yeah.
And this is, let's say, X percent, X percent, X percent, so on.
So
Again, the same thing. Yeah.
we can reverse calculate and divide population now by 1 plus X% to the power N.
Correct. So I'm writing first directly from left to right. Population
Hmm.
initial into 1 plus X percent power n is equal to P. Now you want population n years ago. This
Yeah.
one. So initial population will be P 1 plus X percent to the power n.
Yes.
Got it?
Yes.
Percentage change. For example, there is a value 4 that is, let's say, that has changed into 5.
Hmm.
And you need to find percentage change. How will you find it?
So the positive difference upon base into 100. So 5 minus 4 by 5. Sorry.
Always,
5.
just a sec. Always check what is the change.
Hmm.
What is the change?
1
Divided by the base.
base, which is 4 here.
See, arrows have a significance. For example, if I'm writing, let's say I'm going from 3 to 4. That
Hmm.
means this is my base
Yes.
and this is my final value. So what is the change? 1.
Yeah.
Here the change is 1 over a base of 4. If you know the percentage, then you could directly write 25%. Or if
Yes.
you don't know, it would be 20.
Yes.
Yes, similarly, there is a change from 5 to 3. So what is the change?
Decrease of 2.
So right now I'm just writing decrease. Let's say I know that there is a decrease of
Hmm.
2 over
Hmm.
a base of 5, which is 40%. Then I
Yeah.
can say there is a decrease of 30%,
Yes.
rather than putting minus in the formula.
Yes.
Okay. There's one important learning from it. For example, from the first example, 4 to 5.
Hmm.
What was the percentage change?
25%.
See, if you're going from left to right, what are
Hmm.
you multiplying in terms of multiplication and things? What are you multiplying? Think and then answer. Don't give a random answer. Think what are you multiplying?
Multiplying by fraction 1 by 4.
That
Sorry, plus 25%. So we'll be multiplying by 5 by 4.
hmm. If you're multiplying by 5 by 4, in going from left to right,
Hmm.
then from right to left, what will you be multiplying? From
So
left to right, it would be 5 by 4. So right to left, it would be
4 by 5.
very important. Looks easy, but is very important.
Hmm.
Similarly, let's say 5 to 3. There's a decrease of 40%.
Yes.
40% is 2/5, right? Matlab, if
Yes.
you're writing it, then you are writing something like this.
Yes.
40% is 2 by 5. So 1 minus 2 by 5 would be 3 by 5. That means you are multiplying by 3 by 5.
Yes.
In order to go from right to left, what will you be multiplying?
5 by 3.
Very important. Very important answer. Okay, I'll ask something. For
So
example,
the fraction reverses basically.
hmm, let's say x is increased by 33.33%,
Hmm.
and that gives you y.
Yes.
What are you multiplying when you're going from y to x?
Hmm. So from going by to go from x to y,
Hmm.
we'll be multiplying by 4 by 3.
Hmm.
And to
Which
come
is
from,
1 plus 33.33%, which is 1 plus 1 by 3, which is
yes,
4 by 3.
by
So that
3.
means
And to come from y to x, 3 by 4.
hmm, important. Hmm. This is also an important part. How do we assume values?
Yes.
It says x is increased by 10%. So you know finally what comes? x
1.1.
x 1 plus 10%, which is
1.1x.
11x by 10.
Hmm. Okay.
In order for this value to be a simple value, which is
Hmm.
easier to calculate,
Hmm.
which value of x should I suppose?
Which cancels the denominator completely.
That could cancel the denominator, or that is a multiple of the denominator.
Yes.
And the smallest value could be,
Smallest value could be 1.
hmm, if you're saying 1, then
Hmm.
is it a simple value?
No, to completely cancel out, we need to multiply, we need to take x as 10.
10, some multiple of 10. It could be 10 into 1, 10 into 2.
Okay.
Hmm?
Yeah.
So if you are saying x is increased by 10%, and if you are assuming this value to be 10, that means you have somehow figured out what is the denominator of 10%, which was 1 by 10.
Yes.
And you have taken the value of x to be a multiple of it. So x, when x is 10,
Hmm.
it is increased by 10%, which is 1. The new value would be
11.
11. Similarly, let's say x is increased by 16, or x is decreased by 16.66% to give y. If you were to assume values, what values will you assume?
If x is decreased by 16.66%,
Mhm.
so x is getting decreased by 1 by 6.
Mhm.
So we could, so the remainder would be 5 by 6. We could assume x to be 6.
So whatever that is coming in the denominator of this value,
Hmm.
just assume 6.
Yeah.
16.66% would be 1/6 of this value, which is 1.
Hmm.
The new value would be, and then the
5.
value 5 would be 5.
Yes.
Okay? Look at the denominator, and the same you'll assume.
Yes.
X is increased by 25%, and then let's say there's this new value y, which is decreased
Hmm.
by 25%.
Hmm.
If you were to assume 25% would mean,
1 by 4.
so directly assume 4. And
Yeah.
what is 25% of this value? 1 by 4 of 4 is 1.
1. So y comes to be 5,
See,
which
this
is
is
decreased.
this is x and y.
Hmm.
Similarly, you see another value 25%, which is 25% is what?
1 by 4.
Hmm. So y, I'm assuming another value of y to be 4, and
Hmm.
25% would mean 1/4 of 4, which is 1. So this value would be 3.
Yes.
But now I have two values of y. How will I make? And we have two ratios,
Hmm.
value of x versus value of y, and value of y versus value of z. How will I
Hmm.
make these two values same? This is one way of going about assuming values in this
Yes.
particular question. What should I do quickly?
Uh, we should take the LCM.
Multiply this ratio by, let's say, 4. So I'll
Hmm.
get 20, and
Hmm.
I will make this value
Multiply by 5. So Z comes to be 15.
16, 20.
Sir, I have to mute for a minute, just for a minute. Hello.
Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Method two would be, you know this relationship in, see, what we have done here, that we had made two ratios, right?
Hmm.
And then we came to this.
Yes.
For example, if I have written the equation,
Hmm.
I know there is one 4 in the denominator and there is also a 4 in the denominator.
Yes.
Let's say x increased by 25%, new value decreased by 25%,
Hmm.
you get the value of
Z.
z. Okay. If you solve it, this is 1 plus 1 by 4, which is 5 by 4, 1 minus 1 by 4, which is 3 by 4. How
Hmm.
many 4s are coming in the denominator?
16. No, sorry, 2, 4.
Two 4s, which is 16.
Yeah.
So just by looking at this, 4 in the denominator, 4 will also come in the denominator, and 4 into 4 would be 16.
Hmm.
Why couldn't we simply
Take X to be 16.
16? That would reduce this step. Let's say
Yes.
if I'm taking x as 16, then increase this 16 by 25%.
Hmm.
25% is 1/4.
4 to 25.
Then decrease by 25%, which is 1/4.
So 15.
Same thing.
Yes.
Then you need to take this into consideration.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Total value of the denominator.
Total value of the denominator. Yes. This could come handy when you are solving questions.
Yes.
Hmm. Okay, coming to questions. So, with respect to percentages,
Hmm.
this is the only theory.
Okay.
Okay. Let's look at a few questions. Go for this question. You have 60 seconds to solve and then explain the question to me.
Okay. If X is greater than 0, which of the following expressions are
See,
equal?
and also in the examination, you won't be able to speak. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
while solving, you should not be speaking. Whether
Okay.
it's verbal,
I'll
whether it's once. Yeah.
I'll read mentally.
So let's discuss. What is the question saying?
The
Aditya?
question is saying that X is greater than 0.
X is positive. Hmm.
Yes, x is positive. Which of the following expressions is equal to 3.6% of 5x by 12?
So can I write 3.6% of 5x by 12? Let's simplify, right?
Yes,
3.6% would be 3.6 upon 100, which would be 36 upon
1000.
to 5x by 12. So
Hmm.
12 threes are 5 twos are, and this would be 3x upon 200.
Yes,
So whichever option is giving you 3x by 200 as your answer will be that expression.
yes.
The question is saying select one or more answer choices. In your examination, especially GMAT, you'll get only one answer, right? But
Yeah.
here, I have given you one or more answer choices. These kind of questions could come in GRE, okay, wherein you can have one or more answer choices.
Okay.
So 3% of 2x by 100 would be 3 into 20x upon
Yes.
100,
60x by 100,
which is
which is 3 by 5.
60x by 100, which is 120x by 200.
Hmm.
3x by 200, 120x by 200. Not same, right? These are
Yes.
not same. X
Yes.
percent of 3 by 2.
Hmm.
X into 3 by 2 percent would mean divide by 100.
Yes.
This is 3.
3x by 200.
Same.
Same.
Option C. 3x into zero point 0.2 upon 100, which is 0.6x upon 100, which is 6x upon,
1000.
which is 3x upon 500. Same.
No.
0.05. 0.05 is what?
5 by 100.
Which is 1 by 20.
Yes.
And percent will,
1 by 20 into 100.
and in the numerator you'll have a 3x.
3x.
Is it same?
No. 3x by 2000.
This is directly giving you 3x by 200.
Yes.
The answer to this question would be,
B and E.
hmm. But did you get it right? You chose D as your answer.
Hmm.
Initially, you were saying E as your answer, which was partially correct, but you missed out on the other option choice.
Yes, I chose E and then I thought of A. Then
Thought of,
then I solved and realized that A is not equivalent to the answer.
and you also took longer than usual. Hmm.
Yeah, because initially I was trying to solve it mentally.
All right, sure. Let's. We'll also take time into consideration. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So in exam, we are we are, allowed to use pen and paper.
Absolutely. How would you solve?
Okay.
Go for this question. 60 seconds, not more than that.
Yes.
Hmm. Go for it. Explain the question first.
The question says that there are three variables
Hmm.
used in a scientific experiment, X, Y, and Z, and are related by the equation Z is equal to X square into Y.
Hmm.
And in the experiment, value of X decreases by 40%.
Okay. First of all, tell me, if we were to assume
Hmm.
value,
Hmm.
it says value of x decreases by 40%.
Yes.
40% is what will come in the denominator?
2 by 5. 5.
So let's say the value of x is 5.
Yes.
So what will be the new value?
3.
While the value of y increases by 50%,
Hmm.
what will you assume the value of y?
2.
2,
Yeah.
as 50% has 2 in its denominator.
Yes.
So the new value would be
3.
3. What is the percentage decrease in the value of z? So z initially was how much? 25 into 250.
Hmm.
Z initially and Z finally would be 9 into
27.
27. That means there is a decrease of
23 on the base of 50. So 46%.
so 1 by 50. If you multiply it by 100,
Mm-hmm.
you'll get 46%. And it says what is the percentage decrease, so no need to use the minus sign. How did you get 10% as your answer?
So I did not, assume values. I uh, took the fractions and then and I saw the relationship of fractions. So my answer came in the end 3 by 5 x square into 3 by 2 y. So I thought that since y is 150 in some sense and 150's 3 by 5 would be 90.
Mhm, mhm.
So total could be 100 and then
If you were to, if you were to solve by equation, so
hmm,
initially you have this. Finally, what's happening? X decreased by 40%. So x 1 minus 40%
yes, so 3 by 5.
whole square. Similarly, y increased by 50%. Y, then you need to solve. You want me to solve? Let's say this would be x square. This is 2 by 5. 1 minus 2 by 5 would be 3 by 5,
Hmm.
which is 9 by 25. 1 plus 1 by 2 is 3 by 2. All
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
And what is x square into y? Z
Hmm.
initial. This is 27 by 50. So z final upon z initial is 27 by 50.
Hmm.
Initial value 50, final value 27.
Hmm.
Decrease of 23 over a base of 50. Same thing.
I
Calculate.
I was right only till the point of assuming the correct fractions, but I did not take into account the square of the fraction related to z, related to x, sorry.
Okay. Hmm. Go for this one.
So just
Explain the question.
so from 2011 to 2012,
Hmm.
Jack's annual salary increased by 10%.
We are talking about Jack. Always write the information like this so that you don't have to read again.
Yes. And Arnie's annual salary decreased by 5%.
Hmm. Okay. So if you were to assume the value.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay. First, we'll read both the sentences. If
Their annual salary was equal in 2012.
important information, that means these two boxes, the value is same.
Yes.
Hmm.
Then Arnie's annual salary in
Just,
2011.
just a sec. Now, as we have that these two boxes are same. For
Hmm.
example, this is J, this is A.
Hmm.
10% would be 1/10. This
Yes.
increased by 1/10, so this would be
11 by 10.
similarly 5% is.
1 by 20.
So it
A
decreased by
into
1 by 20. So this
A,
would be
A minus or A into 19 by 20.
these two values are same.
Yes.
Can I write 11J by 10 is equal to 19A by 20? Just solve. Let's say J upon A. This is
190 by or 19 by 22.
okay. You have come to this relation.
Hmm.
So rather than assuming values,
Hmm.
solving was easier because right now you have come to the conclusion wherein if J is 19, A is 22.
Hmm.
And what is the question asking?
By what percentage was Arnie's annual salary approximately greater than Jack's in 2011?
3 greater,
By 22, by 19, sorry. So
greater
the
than Jack.
base greater than Jack's salary, the base is
So 1
9.
by 19 approximate value.
1 by 19 is 5.26%.
This would be 15.78%.
78, yes.
What went wrong here?
So I started from taking the values which of their salary in 2012 as equal. So I assumed 100 of 100 for both. Then I reversed calculate for Jack
Mm,
and did 100 into 10 by 11 to derive his 2011 salary. And
mm.
then I was trying to figure out the fraction for Arnie's annual salary to derive the previous salary.
But did the answer came? Did the answer come?
No, I was actually midway solving it.
You need to be careful. For example, 11 by 10, if you're going from
Hmm.
left to right, 19 by 20, that means right to left,
20 by 19,
right to left.
10 by 11.
And these two boxes are the same.
Yes,
So rather than just saying 100, you could have looked at these fractions as in looked at the denominator 11, 90. So what could be a comfortable value? If this is if
209,
11 into 90,
209,
don't calculate 11 into 90. Hmm? So what would be the salary of Jack in 2011 and early if we are multiplying this by let's say 10 by 11? We are multiplying this by 19 by 20. Okay,
hmm.
sorry, 20 by 19.
90,
19, 19 will get cancelled. This would be 20 into 11, and this would be
10 into 19.
this is 190. This is 220. So there's an increase of
Again,
30 over this
multiply
of 190, which is 3 by
3 by 19.
You need to be smart if you're doing this. You
Hmm.
can't just blindly assume 100 to be the value because it will only increase your calculation.
Yes, that's what made it difficult to analyze.
But did you get the logic now?
Yes, I get the logic.
Anything that you want to ask? Just ask.
Just allow me a minute, I'll reanalyze the question. ठीक.
Hmm. Go for this. And I want correct answer in this case.
Okay. Okay, 60% more than. Uh, I'm about to solve it. Do I get more time?
30 seconds.
Uh, yes, shall we?
Hmm. Go on.
So Took's weight is 60% more than Kim.
Hmm. क्या what values shall we assume?
Uh,
60%.
yes, 5.
Yes, 3/5. So this would be 5 and 60% would be 3. So this value would be 8.
Yes.
Hmm.
Uh, Lee weighs 50% less than Took.
50% less of this value.
Yes, so he weighs 4.
Hmm. That weighs
25% more than Lee.
25% of this value.
Yes, so
This is the
5.
ratio.
5:8:4:5.
Hmm. Now what is the information?
The information says that Pat weighs 126 pounds.
Hmm. So,
So what is Kim's weight?
hmm. So
So Kim's weight is 126 as the answer,
hmm.
the
Okay.
same as Pat.
5 is equivalent to 126. So 5 will also be equivalent to 126.
So the way you have done it, it's fairly very easy.
Hmm.
But I took the equation and the values here. Like I made equations. First k is equal k into
Why? But
1/60
again, why?
because
For all these values. You
Mhm.
should assume values, man, because you know these values.
Since the value of Pat's weight was given, so I used it in to solve the equation. I did
You can
not.
go, okay, you can go by the equation way, but as I can see that you have taken more time.
Yes, obviously.
And did you get the correct answer?
Yes, 126.
No.
But again, it's the way of thinking around the question that I could not, because again, when using Pat's actual weight to solve via equations, the answers were coming out in decimals. So, like, I first calculated the weight for Lee, so it came out to be 100.8.
Okay.
Then, what took weight came out to be 201.6.
वो सब तो निकालना ही नहीं था मतलब you shouldn't have even done it.
Yes, yes. So that is what took time. So again, how should I realize what's the way to go for the question?
By seeing the values. See, in this question, definitely assuming values. This question, maybe going by equation. This
Hmm.
question, definitely values. This question, you need to solve. Though it should be clear. Let's look at the next set of questions. You'll realize.
Okay.
Hmm. Just by seeing the question and the values. See the values. Don't don't read the question. Look at the values.
Hmm. 54, 50%, 25%.
That
Yes.
means maybe I'm saying if you're assuming values,
Hmm.
it would be easier to solve. But now go through the question, solve,
Right.
and I'm putting a timer of 90 seconds. I'll not give more than 90 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Explain.
A jacket is sold for $54 at Martin Outlet.
Outlet price 54. Hmm.
Hmm. Department stores price is 50% higher than the outlet's price.
50% higher. Calculate quickly. 50% would be half.
Yes,
So this value would be
27.81. Yes.
hmm,
In addition, the price of the jacket at department stores, which is 81, is 25% higher than the price of retail store, local retail stores.
hmm. Price of jacket at depart. This price is
125% of retail.
25% greater than some retail store, right?
Yes, yes,
And you need to find this. So 25% would mean 25% increase, one fourth. You need to
yes.
multiply 5 by 4. So from here, you need to multiply 4 by
4 by
5,
5. Yes.
which is 324 by 5, right? 81 into 4 is 324 by 5. You
Yes.
multiply, see, as I see a 5 in the denominator, it would be easier if I multiply and divide, let's say multiply both by 2. I get 628 by 10, sorry, 648 by 10, which is nothing but 64 point.
Hmm.
Hmm?
Yes. So this is what I also got. So I calculated $81 and then multiplied it by 4 by 5 since the price of retail store was supposedly 100. So this is 125% of the price. So 4 by 5 and I divided 81 by 5, 16.2 into 4. So 64.8.
दो बार देखो, you have done it twice. 81 by 5, 1, then 81 into 4. I have done it only once. 324 by 5, then by 2, which is easier.
So 81 by 5 occurred to me that it is 16.2 since 1 by 5 is 0.2
Hmm.
and उसको मैंने 4 से मल्टीप्लाई किया.
चलेगा. If it is not taking time, all right. कोई दिक्कत
Okay. So how much time did I take in this one?
नहीं. More than 2 minutes.
More than 2 minutes.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. Go for this one.
The population of city X
Mhm.
is
Solve, 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 solve.
okay, sorry. So am I wrong or right?
Doesn't matter. Go on. Explain the question.
Okay. So the population of city X in 1999 was R% greater than that in 1990.
Population. Hmm. Go on.
So I derived a basic
Mhm.
equation, population initial into 1 plus R% is 1999's
Hmm.
population.
Hmm.
And the average income per person in 1999 was I% greater than it was in 1990.
Income per person, I% greater.
Yes, so income into 1 plus I%.
Hmm.
The percent increase in the total income of the entire
First. Total income. How will you derive total income?
total population into average income.
So this would be PI and this would be PI, two brackets, right?
Yes.
Hmm. So you need to find this percentage increase, right?
Mm,
The percentage increase in the total income of
mm,
the entire population from 90 to 99 would have been greatest for which of the following? So first of
yes.
all, you need to find percentage increase. For that, you need to find what is the increase, right?
Mm,
Increase upon initial value. So what is the increase? Let's say PI, these two brackets, minus PI, so bracket 1
mm,
divided by PI, right?
yes.
So you need to solve this. Solve quickly. How many terms will come? Two terms here, two terms here. Four terms will come.
Yes.
Multiply with 1 and multiply with I. 1 plus
1
I
plus I
percent.
percent into 1
Similarly,
plus R percent.
R percent plus RI. Two percentages will be there, right?
Yes. Yes,
Minus
yes.
1. And see, I'm talking about right now you have just calculated the fraction. This is a fraction. And you do not know which fraction is it. So there is one thing that you need to do, that you need to multiply this by 100, right? Because this is a fraction right now.
Okay, so this will convert it into percentage.
So this should be into 100. So into 100 into 100. So percentage and 100 will get cancelled. So you'll get I. Similarly, R percent is R by 100 into 100 is just R. And 1 percentage will go from here. So this is the actual percentage increase.
Sir, the last wala percentage, what did you do exactly?
I just multiplied by 100. If you multiply, let's say, I percent with 100, what will you get?
100 and 100 will get cancelled.
I.
So you took percentage as common, firstly.
I just multiplied, or you can say I took percentage, let's say common, and then percentage, 1% and 100 will get cancelled.
So this remainder percentage in the end,
It's the final answer.
no, no, the RI percent, where does it come from? I'm trying to get it.
There are two percentages, right?
Yes, the second one, where does it come from?
There are two percentages,
From R and I.
R percent, I percent.
Okay. Okay, so one was there in the bracket and one was outside, which got cancelled.
Hmm.
Okay.
So write the next step if it's that challenging. I plus R plus IR percent. Into 100. This percent and 100 will get cancelled and you'll get this again.
Okay.
Now, if you check, this is 15, as in I plus R would be 15, 15, 14. This is rejected. 17. So these two will get rejected. And this is 16. This will give me the maximum value.
17 into
ठीक है मतलब if if this is
17.
coming out to be 17 and all the values are coming out to be, let's say 15, 15, 14, 16, then
Okay.
whatever this value is, irrespective, this value will be greater, right? For this
Okay.
7. No need to check what is coming in R into I percent.
It will also be a big value only,
Hmm?
greater than others.
70, 54, 55, yeah.
So I also got the same answer, but I was not in this zone. I was not solving in this zone.
Hmm. How did you get it then?
So I basically the way that that we took initial equations into 1 plus r percent and I into 1 plus
Hmm.
I percent.
Hmm.
So I took that and I then saw that for deriving a total and the total to be a greatest number,
Hmm.
these percentage uh, in multiplication have to be big. So I just multiplied the answers like 6 into 9, 54, 56,
That's not
45, 70, 55. Then I
that's not
saw that 70 would be the greatest.
no, that's not the correct way. Because what you are doing is just doing this R into I, but
Yes.
that has a percentage attached to it. So even if it is 10 into 7, that is actually 70%, which is nothing but 0.7. You don't have an idea of this I plus R.
So this I plus R तो was not even there in my consideration because
हाँ,
मैं
that
simply multiplication का function देख के चल रहा था.
नहीं, but in that, in that simple multiplication function, you are just multiplying R and I,
Yes,
which
because let's
which
say base is 100 for
नहीं
both.
I'm saying नहीं, I'm saying your logic is incorrect here.
Hmm.
This is the main thing. The value of I plus R decide which is the greatest, because this will come in fractions, right? You have Ri percentage, which is Ri by 100, and this is R plus I.
Hmm.
You take any big value, but you are again dividing it by 100.
Hmm.
You haven't even considered, let's say, if there was a value wherein the sum was greater than 17 somewhere.
Like, could you give me an example to debunk that?
कुछ भी ले लो 12 8
So 96.
9, but again 96 is this value, 96
Hmm.
by 100, which is 0.96.
Yes.
Just on the basis of this decimal value, you can't figure out what is R plus I.
So R plus I did not even strike me. Like this final TI,
हाँ, तो
which
आप
you have written in the third line,
yeah, that
I could just envision the equation to there only, till to that point only, that this is the final answer.
no, that logic is incorrect. That is what I'm saying.
So can we just go again beyond that कि उसके बाद हमने क्या करना था
सॉल्व
जो?
करना पड़ेगा, you need to simplify, you need to come to this and then guess.
Okay. So
Because
PI.
because देखो, ultimately what you are doing is you are doing, let's say, 6 and 9, actually your multiplication is this
Yes, yes, yes. So
1.06, 1.09, and this is, let's say, second 1.07 into.
07.08.
Can you tell me which multiplication is greater? You don't have a clue which could be greater.
Like by simply seeing the difference values.
Mhm, mhm. आपको multiplication, you don't even know कि the value, for example, 1.06 into 1.09, this is the actual value, but you are considering 6 and 9. This
Hmm.
has a percentage attached to it as well, which is included
Hmm.
with 1. So what you did was
So
incorrect.
when we took 1.07, so we dissolved the percentage, no? Like the
But you have
percentage.
taken 0.7.
But anyhow, 0.7 into 0.8 would be greater than 0. No, मतलब it
कैसे
would be
पता? How
smaller,
do
would
how do
be,
you
sorry,
how do you
then
know?
multiplication.
How come? Do you know the multiplication of 1.07 into 1.08?
Yes, it would end in 5, 6 on the end only, na, since the base is 1.
ठीक है. I am saying, let's say if there are two values. See, we are discussing on something which is not relevant right now. Okay? 1.07 into 1.08. For
Hmm.
example, if there was one such value, here, see, this value is decreasing, but this value is increasing, right?
Hmm.
There could be a case wherein this would be bigger than this value. Could be a case, I'm saying.
Hmm.
Isn't it possible?
Sir, I'm not able to, get my head around it. The fact कि मतलब हम मल्टीप्लिकेशन से क्यों नहीं जज कर सकते उस चीज को?
That is what I'm saying, because it is not it is not dependent on just R into I. That is what I'm saying. As you see here, it also
Hmm.
depends on I plus R, addition of these values, which you have not taken into consideration.
Hmm. Can we see it through some other example, which is fairly
Hmm,
easier for me to get my head around it?
I don't think you should go via that. I'm just saying you
Hmm.
simplify. You simplify, you reach at some conclusion, and then you judge. The way you judged
Hmm.
may not yield a correct answer every time.
Okay. If you could just run me through the fourth line, from the fourth line to the last line, the percentage increase equal to percent increase by PI.
How do you calculate percentage increase?
Um,
Whatever the difference is,
yes, upon
divided by the initial value. What is the difference? This value minus this value. This value minus this value, I have taken pi common.
so for after we reached the third line, we came to the point where we want to judge the percentage increase,
Yeah.
and we then subtracted the initial value from this equation that we got,
Hmm.
right?
Correct. वही तो बोल रहा है, this is what we are explaining. The percentage increase is greatest for which value? So I found percentage increase first
Hmm.
and then guessed the value.
Hmm.
See, my point, again, my point being, there is 1 plus something, okay,
Hmm.
which is in
Hmm.
percentage,
Yes.
and there is 1 plus something percentage, okay.
Yes.
Understand it clearly. You are basing all your calculations just on the basis of these two quantities,
Yes.
right? But understand the relevance. Let's say, even if we are taking the largest values,
Hmm.
10 and 7, you
Hmm.
are multiplying percentage with a percentage. So you are doing 70.
Hmm.
and there are two percentages involved. Example.
Hmm.
Finally, there would be only one percentage, 70%, which
Hmm.
is just 0.7, right?
Hmm.
And if you solve it pura,
Hmm.
you will get an equation that is also dependent on these two ka addition, something plus something, which is 17 plus 0.7. Imagine this value is way smaller than the addition of these values. And you are deciding your calculation on the basis of just this value.
Mhm. So the way we would solve any equation of variables, so if we could do for this like 1 into 1 plus no, 1 into 1 plus 1 into 7%, right? This is how we would do it, right?
Uh, this is 1 plus something. You're just saying this is 10% and this is 7%.
नो,
And on the
वो
basis.
तो मैं समझ गया आपका पॉइंट। उसके बियॉन्ड जैसे वी वुड बी डूइंग फॉर वेरिएबल्स, लेट्स से हमारे पास वैल्यूज नहीं थी, सिर्फ वेरिएबल्स थे। तो द वे वुड वी वुड बी मल्टीप्लाइंग एंड seeing each variable with the other variables, right?
Absolutely. You should have to. देखो percentage increase you need to find out. अभी तो इस position पे there is no percentage increase. You're just solving something. There is the percentage increase. This is not the percentage increase, right?
हम्म।
Percentage increase would be, let's say, Pi minus Pi divided by Pi into 100.
हम्म।
Then you simplify and then judge. We should move forward. बहुत ज़्यादा time ले लिया हमने इस पे.
हम्म। ठीक है।
Go for this.
Some certain stores. So, last line, express R in terms of P. I'm not able to get my head around it.
Last Sunday, a certain store sold copies of.
Newspaper A for $1 each and B for $1.25 each.
Hmm, Then,
The store sold no other newspapers that day.
hmm,
If R% of the store's revenue,
just a sec. We do not know the number of newspapers. Let's say number of newspapers of A is A, number of newspapers of B is B. All right.
okay,
R% of the store's revenue. What is the revenue right now? If number of
A
newspapers
into
is A,
1, A into 1 plus B into 1.25.
now it is saying R% of the store's revenue,
Hmm.
R% of this value
Hmm.
was from.
Newspaper A.
So what is newspaper A ka revenue?
A.
Hmm. And if P% of the newspapers that the stores sold were copies of newspaper A,
Hmm.
P% of the newspapers, how many newspapers it sold on Sunday?
A plus B.
So P% of this value is equal to number of
Newspapers.
of
A.
A. So we have two equations and how many variables?
Two.
Four variables. A, B, R, P.
Yes. 4.
and you need R and P. That means you need to somehow eliminate A and B.
Yes.
So I'm taking A on one side. Let's say A. If I'm taking R% of A here, this would be 1 minus R%, and this would be equal to, let's say, R% of 1.25 B. Do you understand what I did?
No.
First of all, I simplified it.
R percent A plus 1.25 B into R percent.
Then I took this on the right hand side. So this will come.
So A minus R percent A. I'm taking A common, 1 minus R percent.
Hmm.
Okay.
Similarly, this A 1 minus P%, which is equal to P% of B.
Yes.
Then I'm at a place wherein if I divide, let's say A I've taken common, B is there. If I divide both the equations, I'll get 1 minus R% upon 1 minus P% is equal to 1.25 R% upon P%. If I'm dividing, percent will get cancelled, then multiply by P. P minus PR% is equal to 1.25 R minus 1.25 R P%. See, you have RP%, and this is also RP%.
Hmm.
If you take this to the left hand side, you'll get
0.25 RP percent, PR percent.
which is 1.25 R minus P. Okay, this is calculation intensive, I know.
Hmm.
And you need R in terms of P.
Yes.
So what to do? Either you take all R to one side.
Okay.
Let's say this was your step, right?
Hmm.
Either you take R to one side and P to one side.
So how would we separate the PR percent?
You take R, let's say if you're taking P to the left and this value to the right. Okay? You have 1.25 R minus 0.25 P R%. I'm writing R% as R by 100.
Okay.
If I take, let's say, R common, this 1.25 is 5 by 4. This is what?
Hmm.
0.25 is 1
1/4.
fourth, which is 400. And there is a P. Hmm,
Hmm.
multiply by 100, multiply
500
by 100. This would be R 500 minus P upon
by
400.
400.
So this would be 400 P upon 500 minus.
So which of the following expresses R in terms of P? So 400P by 500 minus P. Okay.
The second step is to assume values, but I wouldn't focus on assuming values on this question. You can try.
Would
I'll
that
follow.
make it more intense?
You can try and find it out, and then we can discuss.
Should I do it right now?
No, not at all. No.
Okay, but in general, would that make it more intensive?
In general, it depends on the question
So for this one, would the calculation become more intensive?
that you find out. Matlab, if choosing option, as in choosing values, was a good thing, I would have already told you.
Acha.
But you should also know how to go about equations. Equations are as important. Making equations are as important as assuming values.
Okay.
it depends on the question.
Okay.
But here, this was a calculation intensive question. Okay, and my intent was to take it here so that you know.
Okay.
So the catch for this question was out of the four variables, you need to eliminate two, and hence I made the equation like this.
Yeah. A is on one side and B is on one side. Okay.
I would say this is a great question, conceptual question. Go for
Hmm.
it.
Okay. During algebra problems.
Take 2.5 minutes for this one.
Okay. During archery practice, Kyle made 50 attempts to hit a target. After each attempt, his success rate was calculated as the number of successful attempts to hit the target as a percentage of the number of attempts up to that time.
Hmm.
So, should I define this success rate?
Okay.
So, success rate is equal to number of successful attempts up to the point upon number of successful attempts up to that uh, uh, point
Total attempts.
in 200, right?
In
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 200,
yeah, yeah, in 200.
since it needs to be expressed as a percent. So after the 20th attempt, his success rate was 45%.
What does it mean?
It means that there were total of 9 successful attempts.
Success rate was 45%. So
Yes,
45% of 20 would be 9. So 9
9
successful and 11 unsuccessful.
unsuccessful. After the 40th attempt, his success rate was 55%.
55% of this value would be
Uh,
22.
yes,
So 22 successful attempts here,
at
till here.
40 attempts.
So
Yeah.
13 successful and 7 unsuccessful.
Yes. Yes. So which of the following statements must be true?
Must be
Indicate,
true.
yes, definitely
Hmm,
true, and indicate all such statements.
hmm,
Kyrie's success rate was less than 45% at least once during the practice.
hmm. So whenever there are must be true state question, you should look for contradictions rather than thinking that this happened. Can you think of a case wherein this never happened?
Mm,
Is it possible that this never happened?
yes, it is possible.
Tell me how.
Before the completion of 20 attempts.
Hmm.
So
See, let's say
we don't know
it,
if.
it says no, no. It says it was less than 45% at least once. So now my target is that the success rate was always greater than equal to 45%,
Hmm.
right?
Yes,
What if this guy, Kyle, has successes, continuous successes? For example, first attempt success. So what would be the success rate?
100.
Till 9 attempts, he had success rate,
Hmm.
all successes.
Hmm.
So on the ninth attempt, he'll have, till ninth attempt, he'll have,
100% success.
and we know after, let's say, the 20th attempt, his
Hmm.
success rate was.
45%.
So can you say even after, let's say, you take any successful attempts from here, whatever the value is, 100% will come down to 45%, but not below this. Because on the 20th attempt, he has a
Hmm.
success rate of 45%.
Hmm.
Are you getting? So you're dropping from 100% to maybe, let's say, 90, 80, 70, 60 till 45, but not more than it,
Hmm.
as in not less than it.
Hmm.
Is it clear?
Yes, but isn't vice versa also possible that for the initial 11
A-
attempts he did not
Again,
say anything?
again, you are looking for a contradiction. You need one case to contradict that this is not a must be true. See, this could be possible. It could be a possibility. But
Hmm.
question is saying must be. Is it 100% true? Is it true all the time? So I'm
No.
looking for a case. I'm just looking for a single case wherein it is not true. Okay, but the question is not solved as of now.
Hmm.
Now the success rate is 45%.
Hmm.
Now again give all successes. All successes. So the next 13 attempts, I'm giving all success. So if I'm increasing, let's say the success rate,
Hmm.
okay, that means this value is going greater than 45% again.
Yes.
Let's say, example, it has reached to maybe 60%, 70%.
Okay.
What is the final success rate after 40 attempts?
55%.
So eventually, if you have taken all the successes into consideration, even if you're, let's say, taking 7 unsuccessful attempts, it will only drop down from 60% to 55%.
Yes.
So this need not be true.
But he took total of 50 attempts. Won't we be
ठीक है.
considering beyond that?
But do you know what was his success rate after it?
So we could take two extreme possibilities.
No, no, you take anything.
Hmm. So let's say he failed all those attempts.
अरे भैया, when once you have already decoded, why you are going for the next attempts? You know that this isn't true just on the basis of this information. Why are you considering it?
Okay.
Go for option B.
Kyle's success rate was between 48% and 52% at least once during the practice. Yes.
How do you know?
Since his success rate was 45, so assuming that it dropped from a higher percentage to a lower one and then
नहीं,
increased.
again, see, again, if you have considered, let's say, this possibility, ठीक है?
Hmm. Hmm.
Right now, let's say in the first scenario, it didn't happen. Example. But from 45% and here on the 40th attempt, it is, let's say 55%.
Hmm.
That means definitely there could have been an increase from 45% till 55. There definitely would have been an increase, right?
Yes.
So this is possible.
Hmm.
From 45% to 55%, this stage will come, right?
Yes.
That is why we are saying it is true. Option C.
Hmm. But again, must be true. So,
Hmm.
hmm, yes, even if it fell after the 55% point, it would be between this range at least once, right?
See, once you have figured out it is happening, then why are you considering this again?
Since you said that we need to contradict the statement,
But I'm saying
so trying to
from
find other possibilities.
no. See, once you know from 45, there definitely would have been an increase of 55. So
So at
this,
least once that has happened, so we don't need to care about that if it would happen again or not. That's what you're saying?
it said at least once now.
Yes. Okay.
After that, it happened, didn't happen, not our concern.
Okay.
Hmm.
Kyle's success rate was greater than 55% at least once during the practice.
Hmm.
So
Try contradicting it.
that he had all failures in the initial attempts.
He
Initial
had
10, initial 11 attempts he failed.
Initial 9 attempts he failed.
Yeah.
11 attempts he
Yes.
failed.
11
So
attempts he failed.
till then 0% success.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
And then whatever the success rate was after that, it from
Gradually
0%.
increased to 45%.
Okay. So that means till here there was no percentage or no success rate that
Hmm.
was greater than 55%, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you take the same scenario here, wherein he had
Clean
first
all attempts.
seven unsuccessful, then 13 successful. So
Hmm.
if you are having, let's say, unsuccessful attempts,
Hmm.
this would definitely be lesser than 45%
Yes.
because your denominator is increasing and numerator remains the same.
Yes.
And from here, you have all successful attempts.
Hmm.
That means this 45% will eventually become
Increased to
55%.
55.
But has it ever gone above 55% in this case?
Hmm. No. So इसमें भी हम कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे बियॉन्ड 40 अटेम्प्ट्स.
अरे क्यों भाई? See, 55%,
सो
even if you were to contradict,
हम्म
now you say he had gotten all successes.
हम्म
Matlab, if you want to contradict, it was saying uh, he scored or his success rate was greater than 55%. Then you gave all unsuccessful attempts here. The success rate would be lesser than 55%.
बट इज इट्स आल्सो पॉसिबल द अदर वे सो एटलीस्ट वंस वन इज.
Again, man, you need to look for contradictions. It says must be true, must be true.
Okay, like we did should be that situation should be possible in all scenarios.
So I'm looking for a situation wherein it is not possible. I just
Okay,
have to look at one
so the
situation.
statement should be true in all scenarios basically. That is the purpose
Yeah,
of evaluating the statement, right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Hmm. So this was a good question, I would say. Let's look at profit loss. Again, an application of percentages. For example, you have made a shirt that costed you. The manufacturing charges costed you 800 rupees.
Hmm.
You're putting a tag on that shirt that I'm going to sell this shirt for 1,000 bucks, 1,000 rupees.
Hmm.
So this tag is nothing but the marked price or the maximum retail price. As
Okay.
a customer, for example, a friend of yours comes and he asks for a discount. So you said, okay, I'll give you a discount. So this is your final price or the selling price. This was your discount. This was your marked price. This was your cost price. And this was your selling price. This was the discount. This was the discount in percentage. What would be the discount in terms of value? 10% on what? You have given 10% discount on what?
Mark price
Marked price. 10% of
100.
1,100. This. Remember the arrows. Arrow. Arrow plays a significant role. Tells you that this is the base. Tells you that in this scenario, this is the base.
Hmm. Also the relationship between cost price and
Hmm.
mark
Let's
price.
let's see. Cost price was 800.
Mhm.
Selling price was 900. What is profit? Whatever your investment was, which was 800, you got 100 rupees after selling that shirt for 900.
Mhm.
So this was your profit. And how did you calculate the profit? Selling price minus cost price. So profit is SP minus CP, one relationship. Similarly, profit, this was value. And asking with respect to percentages, what was the percentage increase or what was your profit percentage? So you would do profit with respect to whatever your investment was, which was 800 into 100, which is nothing but profit upon cost price. So profit is selling price minus cost price upon cost price into 100, this value.
Yes.
Similarly, you know 100 by 800 is 12.5%. So can I write this equation as selling price, which is 900, is nothing but increasing the cost price by 12.5%. In a way, I'm saying you increase the cost price by profit percentage.
Yes.
Similarly, if there was a loss, then I could have written cost selling price is equal to cost price 1
Minus
minus
loss percentage.
loss percentage. Let's assume a scenario for loss. So profit is with respect to and loss is with respect to
Cost price.
cost price, always with respect to cost price, unless it is stated somewhere.
Yeah.
Assume another scenario. Let's say cost price is 800. So assume that this is a number line. If I'm writing, for example, just for your simplicity, cost price is 800. If I were to, let's say, denote the selling price as 700. If this
Hmm.
is a number line, then I would denote selling price here,
Yes.
saying this is 700, and arrow would be like this.
Yes.
What would be the loss here?
100.
So I'm doing 800 minus 700. Okay.
Hmm.
What would be the loss percentage? What is the
100
decrease
upon
or what is the
800.
percentage decrease?
Hmm.
Whatever the loss is with respect to the cost price into 100.
Yes.
So CP minus SP upon CP into 100. Similarly, I would say out of these three relations, the third relation is very important because we have already seen it in percentages, right? 100 by 800 is 12.5%. You know how to write it already,
Yes.
that 800 is decreased by 12.5%, and that would give you a 700. So selling price is nothing but cost price 1 minus loss percent. So profit loss is always with respect to your investment or the cost price. Important.
ठीक.
Similarly, marked price cost price relationship. We are talking about this relationship.
Yes.
So 800 was your cost price, 1000 was your marked price. You increased this value by what?
200.
This is called as the markup. As in, you wanted to have 200 as your profit,
Hmm.
maximum as your maximum profit.
Hmm.
So write it here. Let's say 800 was your cost price, marked price was 1000. So your markup was
200 rupees.
200. And how did you find the markup?
By subtracting
Marked
cost
price.
price from the mark price.
Hmm. Similarly, what is the percentage increase from here to here, which is called as the markup percentage?
So markup upon cost price into 100.
And what is the markup? Marked price minus
200 is 200
divided by cost price.
into 100.
Similarly, 200 by 800 was 25%. So I could have written marked price as cost price
1 plus
25% or 1 plus the price.
markup
Okay.
percentage.
Here, what is the base? Base starting value,
Cost price.
cost price. Here also cost price is the base. So markup is always with respect to cost price.
Cost price.
Similarly, discount, you need to find the relation between these quantities.
Hmm.
Let's say markup was 1000 and you gave a discount of, let's say, 10%, and this was the selling price. Value wise, this was 100. So what was the discount? Value of discount?
10%. 100
Marked,
rupees.
marked price minus selling price. All right.
Yes.
1000 minus 900. What was the percentage? Discount percentage, for example, if it was not given and
Hmm.
you were only given a discount of 100, so you would do 100 with respect to the initial value,
Yes.
with
So
respect to
discount upon mark price into 100.
discount upon mark price into 100. Similarly, if value was given, let's say 10%, and these values were not given, so could I or can I write marked price when decreased by 10%?
Is
This would
equal to
have been,
discount.
it is equal to selling price, not discount.
Yes, sorry, selling price.
So here, what is the base?
Mark price.
Marked price. So when you are talking about discount, you're talking with respect to mark price. When you're talking about markup, you're talking with respect to cost price. If you're talking about profit, you're talking with respect to cost price. If you're talking about loss,
With respect to cost price.
unless it is stated otherwise. This is the thing usually, generally. Okay, this theory is enough for profit loss discount. Let's solve a few questions on profit loss discount.
Okay.
Give this question a go.
So we firstly would assume a value. Let's say,
Firstly, you should make the diagram, that visual representation. Marked his goods at 25% above the cost price. So this is cost price, this is marked price, and then allows a discount of 20%. This is the selling price. Will he be able to make any profit? Let's see. Assume the value of cost price if it is 25%.
a simple 100.
Again, not applying concept. 4, 25%, 1 by 4.
Yeah, so
Instead of 1,
4,
5.
5, and
25, 20% of this value.
1. So we would again arrive at 4.
So is there any profit or loss? Is there any profit first?
No profit.
So this is a when selling price is equal to cost price.
Hmm.
Are you having any loss?
No,
Are you having any profit?
no,
So this is a no profit, no loss situation. So
yes,
will he be able to make any profit?
no.
No. Go for this one. 90 seconds. Explain.
Leo bought two paintings
Hmm.
for 2000 each. So with
Selling price
2000 plus 2000, 4000 is the total selling price.
on one.
On one, he made a 25% profit. So the
20,
cost price
just a sec. And on the other, he.
made a 25% loss.
Hmm.
So the cost price for the one he earned profit on comes out to be 1600.
How come? Explain. How
Uh,
did you find out?
so 2000 is 125% of the cost price.
If I
That
were to, let's say, if I were to assume the ratio 25%, so
5 by 4.
if this is 4, this would be 5.
Hmm.
So this is the value that we assume, and we want
Multiply by 400.
this would be 16. Till this point, it is correct. Go for the second one.
So on this one, he made a loss of 25%.
Hmm.
So the current value is 3 by 4.
Current value is 3 by 4. What does it mean?
He made a loss of 25%. The original value,
No, what you are saying is not clear to me. Can you be more clear?
okay. So he sold the painting for
ठीक
2000.
है. Now that I assume that there is
Hmm.
a loss of 25%. So which value should come here and here?
Which value should come here? Okay. So 4 should come above.
Above. That is why I've given this question.
No. So The initial value was into 5, the current value is into 4. That is what I want to say.
Current value, why would current value be into 4? If
Hmm.
this is 25%, this would be 4, this would be 3.
Okay.
See, this is what I would say at least 90% of people do. That, it is given that 25% loss, but 25% loss is with respect to what? 25% is with respect to the cost price, not
Hmm.
with respect to the selling price. And everybody does it. I don't know why. So if this is 4, this is 3. Now you have to make this 3 as 2000. What should you multiply?
666.66.
Just say 2000 by 3.
Okay.
You need a 2000, but you don't need a 3. Hence I'm dividing by 3.
Hmm.
So this will also get multiplied by 2000 by 3, which
Hmm.
is nothing but 8000 by 3, which is nothing but 326 are 78, 6 are 18, 6 are 18.
2666.
Hmm. So what is the final selling price, as in total selling price?
Total selling price is 4,000 and the total cost price is 32,666.66.
32, 16 plus 26.
42, sorry. 42.
So what's the loss?
It's more than $100.
And you said $100 something.
Yes. Yes, because the price of the one on which he made a loss of 25%, I made a mistake by calculating it as $2,500.
Hmm. That is why I've always said this loss is with respect to cost price.
Yes.
And most of the students do it. Most. Hmm. Go for this. Yeah, Aditya.
Hello.
Yes, Aditya.
Uh, yeah, so I have done this question in the past, but I somehow I'm not able to recollect and I've got confused.
What is it saying?
It says that a man sells an article at a 25% profit. So can assume this cost price to be 4.
Okay, go for it. Let's say this was your cost price and he sold at a 25% profit, the selling price. Hmm.
Yes.
Then,
So
then what is it saying?
it says that if he had bought it for 20% less, then what?
20% less.
Yeah.
The 20% less would be, this value would be 80% of cost price.
Yes.
He would have gained
He would have gained 30% more
30% of what?
cost price.
Which is,
80%, मतलब 4 by 5 into
so what is 30% of 80%?
24%.
Hmm. So with respect to this value, he got a 24% profit with respect to this value, right?
Hmm.
So if this is 80% and 24%, this would be what? 104% of cost price. If this is 80% and you got a 24% on cost price,
Hmm.
if this is 80%, this is 24%, this is 100% of cost price, right?
Hmm.
Hmm. He would have gained. And what is this value?
21%.
Hmm.
10.5.
21%,
And 10.5.
10.5, which you can relate. 21% of cost price is 10.5,
Hmm.
and this is 21 by 100. This is 105 by 10, 21 into 5. This is 1
500.
0 and 1 0 will get cancelled, and cost price would be 50.
Hmm.
This is one way to go. Second way would be to assume values. Say, you can assume 4, you can assume any value which is a multiple of 4. Here I'm assuming the value, say, as I can see this is 10.5 less, I will assume a greater value. And if it is 25%, right now I'm assuming 100. Okay, if
Okay.
this is 100, then selling price would be.
125.
If he had bought it at 20% less, 20% less, this would be 80.
Yes.
He would have gained 30%. What is 30% of this value?
104.
24. This would be 104. If he had bought it at 20% less and sold it for 10.5 less. See here, by assuming values, what was the difference?
20.
21. But
Yes.
in the actual question, this is what we assume. But in the actual question, what is the difference?
10.5.
So how can you make 21 as 10.5?
Divide by 1 by 2.
You just divide by 2.
Yes.
So whatever values that you have chosen, whatever values,
So the
everything.
relationship between our assumed value and the actual value is of half.
Huh. So
So the
everything will
values
get,
would be halved.
every value will get halved. So what will happen to the cost price?
Half. 100 would become 50.
Hmm. This matches our original answer.
Okay. So this 50 is the value
Cost
that
price.
he currently buys at, right?
Yeah.
It's not the value of 20% less.
No, no. This is just
Okay.
cost price. Simple cost price.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes, clear.
Hmm. Go for this.
Sir, I'm not able to understand the question somehow.
Hmm.
कि आंसर जो मैंने निकाला वो तो ऑप्शंस में भी नहीं है.
Whatever, whatever. Explain the question first.
An appliance dealer purchased refrigerators of a certain model for $850 each.
Hmm.
And the dealer sold each refrigerator at a 25% discount of a regular price of P dollars.
So this is your mark price and 25% discount. This was your selling price.
Yes.
Hmm.
So if the dealer's profit on each refrigerator was
Just a
20%,
sec, just a sec, read slowly. If the profit was
20%
20%
of the cost price,
cost price, so 20% of 850 would be 20% is 150,
1020.
170. Hmm. What is the value of P? This is the relation.
So
So
uh,
25, it is 25%. So if this is 4, this would be 3.
again, I made the same mistake like I did in the previous question.
Hmm. So 3 into 340. 3 into 34 is 102. So 4 into 340 would be your answer. Something that is ending it at
Yeah, 1320.
1360.
1360, sorry. I made the same mistake. I took 1020 into 5 by 4.
25% is 4. But did you get it? Was it difficult?
No, it was not difficult, but what I did was again the same mistake I did in the previous one, which is 20%. So 25%. So एक बार सर थोड़ा सा मुझे इस चीज पे क्लैरिटी दोगे कि मैं जो गलती कर रहा हूँ उसको कैसे ना करूँ?
You should remember that 25% will have 4 as its denominator, 20% will have 5 as its denominator, and then you should assume the value of p to be a multiple of, let's say, 4 or a 5. I see,
मैं
25%. I think of denominator. Denominator is 4, so I'll assume a value that is a multiple of 4. I mean,
तो
what's the hurry?
So what in my head I think is कि the price right now is 100, so 1 by 4 of 100 would be 125. तो 5 और 4 का relation है.
100, there is a decrease of 25.
Hmm.
So
So the
75.
current value is 3 and the previous would be 4. That is what the current thing, right thing is to think, right?
Current is 3, previous was 4. You are coming from previous to current.
Yeah.
You are going from marked price to selling price. You have a problem with base. What the base is. Between
Hmm.
marked price and selling price, what is the base? Marked price. So whatever I'm thinking or whatever I'm starting, I will start from marked price.
In
Clear?
equation terms, it would be SP into 1 minus 25%
In
equal mark price.
2 again, marked price 1 minus 25. So you are relying on formulas right now. You are going from marked price to selling price. Marked, you are decreasing the marked price, not the selling price.
Yes, yes, sorry.
That is why formulas are dangerous, according to me. Very
No,
dangerous.
no, I just made it basis logic, but I put the wrong variable.
As in, that's the whole thing of not using formulas. The reason I would say I make less conceptual mistakes would be I don't rely on formulas too much. I will think that this is a question on percentage rather than thinking that this is a question on profit and loss.
Rather than thinking,
That this question is from profit loss.
okay. So relationship between mark price and selling price is mark price upon selling price is equal to 4 by 3.
Marked price?
Upon selling price is equal to 4 by 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Go for this. This is an easy one and you should not be making any mistake in this.
Yes. Just a second. The average,
Don't give me the answer, explain.
okay. So a gardening store bought 100 trees for $6 each. So the cost price comes to be $600.
For 100 would be 100 into 6.
Yes, $600. By the end of the year, 20 trees were sold for $30 each. So
The selling price of 20 trees would be
$600.
hmm,
And selling price for 30 trees was $50 each. So $1,500.
hmm,
Selling price for 40 trees was $60 each. So $2,400. And 10 trees did not earn any margin. So zero.
hmm.
Yeah. So total selling price was $3,900.
Profit would be
Sorry, $4,500.
selling price of 100 minus cost price of 100.
Yes.
This is 3900 plus 600.
Minus 600.
So this is profit for how many trees?
100 trees.
The profit per tree would be?
Uh, 33. No, sorry, 39.
Okay. Did you get the correct answer?
Yes. So I also did this 10 into 0 only, and total selling price 4500 minus 639.
Got it. Go for this. Aditya,
Yes, sir.
explain.
What was the So 60 models of camera X were ordered by a photographer,
Selling price is 250 and 60.
$250 each. Yes. And this represents a 20% markup over the dealer's initial cost. So the initial cost is,
So mark price is equal to selling price here, because there is no such discount.
yes. So
20% markup over the dealer's initial cost. 20%. So if I were to assume this value 5, this would be
mm,
6.
yes. So
This is
the
the equivalent. Huh.
cost price is 250 into 5 by 6.
If this is 250, I need to make this as 250. So I'm multiplying by 250 by 6. So this is 250 by 6. This is my cost price.
Yes.
Hmm. Go on.
And of the cameras ordered, 6 were never sold and were returned to the manufacturer for a refund of 50%.
This means, let's say 54 items got sold properly.
Yes.
So 54 into 250. That's okay.
Yes.
But
Yes.
what about those six? Six were never sold. See
And
what's
returned for
happening?
the half price.
And were returned to the manufacturer for a refund of
50%
50%.
of the initial cost.
So can I say that these six cameras were
Hmm.
sold at a 50% loss?
Yes.
Try thinking about it. Let's say it is returned to the manufacturer for a refund of 50%.
Yes.
That means it is selling at, let's say, 50% of the initial cost.
Hmm.
So can I say there's a loss of 50% involved in a way?
Yes. Loss of 50% over the cost.
So how should I write it?
250 into 5 by 6 into 1 by 2 into 6.
So 50% I'm writing 1 by 2 into,
250 into 5 by 6 into 6.
this is for 1, for 6 would be into 6.
Yes. So this comes out to be $625.
6 and 6 I'm cancelling. So we need approximate profit or loss.
Hmm.
Let's say SP of 60 would be 54 into 250. That's,
13,500.
let's say 250 into 5 by 2. Similarly, cost price of 60 is 60 into
15,000.
5 into 250 by 6.
5 into 250. Selling price is 250 only, no?
Any cost price I'm saying.
Oh, sorry.
Cost price of 60.
Yes, yes, sir.
Hmm. So what is this value? Rather than, let's say, what is the profit? So I'm writing SP60 minus CP60. Okay, and I'm taking 250 common. So can I write 54 plus, let's say, 5 by 2 minus, if I'm taking 250 common, this would be 10 into 5, which is 50. This is 250. I'm just simplifying, okay? You could just take the values and solve. I'm
Okay.
trying out a way in order to simplify. 54 minus 50 is 4.
4 plus 5 by 2.
This is
So
profit with respect to,
13 by 2.
no, with respect to
Uh, Cost
cost,
for the 60
60
cameras.
into 5 into 250 by 6. So 250 and 250 will get cancelled. This would be 50. So you have 50, and this would be 4 plus 2.5 would be 6.5. Multiply by 2, you'll get 13 by 100, which is a 13% profit.
Yes.
So I did not solve it, okay? I simplified it till the last so as to get an answer.
Hmm.
Are you getting my point?
Yes.
This is a good question, I would say.
Yes.
Hmm. This would be the last question of today's class. Please solve.
A bicycle store purchased two bicycles,
Hmm.
one for $250 and the other for $375,
Okay.
and sold both of the bicycles at a total gross profit of $250.
Acha. All right.
Total profit. So the total selling price would be
Mm-mm-mm-mm. First,
okay. If the store sold one of the bicycles for $450,
one of the bicycle. It could be, let's say, this case,
hmm,
or it could be the other way around.
yes,
One
which,
of the bicycles. We do not know which one. So either
yes,
it could be the first or it could be the second.
yes. Which of the following could be the store's gross profit from the sale of the other bicycle?
Maybe this or maybe this.
Yes,
So here, what's the profit?
200.
So what will be
So
the profit
remaining
here?
is 50. So 425.
50. And this, it is asking about profit. So let's just focus on profit. Can you
Okay.
find 50 anywhere?
No.
Let's go for the other case.
So if the profit from the other bicycle is $75, we have
This is
$175 left for the first one.
this is 75. Profit is 250. So the rest would be
175.
175. Can you see a 175?
Yes.
This answers our question. Which of the following could be the gross profit from the sale of the other bicycle?
Yes.
Nice. All
So
right.
this is
That's all.
this
Just a
is just a hit and trial.
Yeah, it says could be, right?
Hmm.
So there are two possibilities. It is asking one of the possibilities.
Okay.
Okay. This ends our discussion on profit loss. Today's session is on simple interest, compound interest, and ratios. We'll discuss simple interest and compound interest first. So this topic is also an application of percentages. Profit loss discount is also an application of percentages. This topic is also an application of percentages. Hmm. So here I have given an example. Let's say if you are taking a loan of 10,000, this 10,000 would be called as a principal or sum, or let's say some amount from bank one with a simple interest of 10%. You can also call it R% per annum would mean
Per year.
per year. All right. So for
Yes.
example, if you have deposited 10,000, first year, how much extra amount or how much interest will you get? You'll get 10%.
10%.
10% on what?
Principal 10,000. 10,000, which is 1,000. Generally, if I say in place of this, if there was some variable, say
Hmm.
R, so this would be R percent of some principal, right?
Yes.
This we call it as off stands for multiplication, so I'm writing PR percent.
Yes.
Simple interest for first year. I'm not saying simple interest for 1 year. I'm saying simple interest for first year is PR percent, or let's say 1,000 for this example.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, when we are talking about simple interest, in the second year as well, you'll get 10% on the same amount that you have deposited in the bank initially.
Okay.
Initially. So again, 10% of the same amount for
Mm-hmm.
principal. So 10% of 10,000 will give you 1,000. So this would also be R percent of P, which is PR percent. And mind it, this is simple interest for second year.
Yeah.
Second.
Yes.
Similarly, simple interest for third year will be the same, 10%. Okay.
Yes.
Simple interest after 1 year. That means I'm talking about the simple interest. It is PR percent generally.
Yes. Yes.
Similarly, simple interest after 2 years. See, here I'm talking about simple interest for the second year, and here I'm saying simple interest after 2 years. That means I'm talking about the interest made in the first year and the interest made in the second year. This is simple interest for 2 years. Are you getting this point?
Yes.
For first year, it was PR percent. Second year, it was PR percent. So total 2 PR percent. Similarly, simple interest after 3 years would be PR percent, PR percent, PR percent, 3 PR percent. So by mathematical induction, or let's say by reduction, by deduction, simple interest after n years would be n
NPR
into
percent.
n into 1,000, or n into PR percent. After 3 years, 3 into 1,000. After 2 years, 2 into 1,000. So after n years would be n into 1,000.
And 2000.
So NPR percent. This is nothing but simple interest formula. Simple interest for n years is NPR percent,
NPR
can be written as.
percent. NPR 100.
Similarly, let's say amount. Amount after first year would have been amount, as in total amount in the bank.
Simple interest plus the principal
Simple interest for the first year,
and the principal.
principal plus simple interest for the first year. Similarly, amount at the end of 2 years would be principal plus simple interest for two
Two
years.
years.
So, for example, simple interest for 1 year was PR percent. Simple interest for 2 years was 2 PR percent. So,
Hmm.
simple interest for after, as in amount after n years, would be principal plus simple interest for n years, which is nothing but
P plus NPR percent.
NPR percent. If you want to reduce it, you can write, you can take P common and you can write 1 plus NR percent, which is R by 100. Okay. No need to remember the formula, understand how we
Yes.
deduced it. Is it clear?
Yes.
Similarly, one more important point, simple interest, if the rate was, let's say, 10%. The
Hmm.
simple interest was the same for every year.
Yes.
The simple interest for first year is equal to simple interest for second year is
Yes.
equal to third year, and so on. Similarly, simple interest for 1 year, simple interest for 2 years, simple interest for 3 years. Is there a logic, or is there a pattern? For example, it was 1,000 for 1 year,
Hmm. 2000
2,000.
for two. Yes. This is arithmetic progression.
It is increasing by 1,000, right?
Yes.
So this is an AP. So we can say simple interest grows proportionally.
Proportionally.
For one, it is 1 into 1,000. For two, it is 2 into 1,000. For three, it is 3 into 1,000.
Yes.
Proportionally would mean AP. Okay.
At a
Important point.
regular interval or at an equal interval, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. This is the same thing that we have discussed just now.
Yes.
Simple amount after n years would be this. simple interest for each year remains the same if the rate is constant. The rate was, let's say, R percent. Amount grows proportionally. The amount also grows like that. Initial amount was 10,000. It increased by, let's say, 1,000 in the first year, so
Mm.
11,000. Then in the second year, it also increased by, as in, we will get the same interest, which is 1,000,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
as in simple interest for the second year. Similarly, simple interest for the third year was also 1,000. So as you
Mm.
can also see, whether it's simple interest for, let's say, 1 year, simple interest for 2 years, simple interest for 3 years, this was an arithmetic progression, and the
Mm.
amount is also an arithmetic progression.
Mm.
Important point. And this we have found out already. Simple interest for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years.
Yes.
Hmm. Consider the second case. So this was all about simple interest. Now let's
Yes.
say there's another bank in which you are depositing the amount, okay, with
Yes.
a compound interest of 10% per annum. All right.
Yes.
So compound interest first year would be whatever the amount that you have deposited, you'll get 10%, which is
Yes.
1,000, which is nothing but PR percent.
Yes.
Hmm. But when I'm talking about the second year, for example, you got 1,000 here,
Mm.
you deposited 10,000, but for
Mm.
the second year,
Mm.
some unique thing will happen wherein you will definitely get 10% on, or let's say R percent on this amount, which is 1,000,
Mm.
plus you'll get something else,
Interest on the interest as well.
interest on this interest as well,
Yes. R
10%.
percent. So 10.
So in order to write, for example, you're getting 10% on 10,000
Yes.
and 10% on this 1,000. So I'm writing this 10,000 as, let's say, this is R percent of, this is principal, and what is this 1,000? 1,000 is again PR percent.
Yes.
So P into R would give you PR percent, and how many R percent would be there?
2.
So R percent the whole square. Okay.
Yes.
This is compound interest for the second year. Similarly, when I'm talking about interest for the third year, see, right now in the third year, what are you going to get? You will get 10% on this amount. Okay, good.
Mm. Mm.
You'll also get 10% on this amount
Yes.
as it's also in the bank. You'll also get 10% on this amount, and you'll also get 10% on this amount. Is it clear?
Uh, did we do it?
Whatever that is there in the bank, you'll get
Uh,
interest on it. This is in the bank.
yes.
This is also in the bank.
Yes.
This is also in the bank,
Yes.
and this is also in the bank. So in the third year, you'll get interest on all these amounts.
Okay.
10% on this value, 10% on this value, 10% on this value, which is 100, and 10% on this value, which is 10.
Yes. 10. Yes.
The same thing I did, 10% on 10,000, 10% on, let's say, 1,000, and
Mm.
10% on 1,100, which is this 1,000 plus 100, 1,100.
Yes.
Way of writing would be this was P, this was PR percent, this was,
PR percent square.
no, this 1,100 was this whole value.
Yes. Okay.
No need to write this down. It was
Mm.
just there to, let's say, make a formula. This was PR 1,100 is nothing but PR percent
PR
plus
plus P into R percent square.
R percent square. Okay. So,
Yes.
so this would be compound interest for third year would be PR percent plus, and this was R percent. So PR percent square, and this was PR percent cube. So this should be 2 times of PR percent square. Are you getting this point? This was PR percent.
Yes.
1,000 was PR percent.
Yes.
This was PR percent square. This
Yes.
was also PR percent square. and this
Yes.
was PR percent, the whole cube. So this would be PR percent plus 2 PR percent whole square plus PR percent whole cube. Not that important. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So compound interest for first year was 1000. Compound interest for second year was how much? 1100.
Yes.
Compound interest for third year was
1210.
1210. Similarly, initial amount deposited in the bank was 10,000. After the first year, you had
11,000.
you got 1000 as your interest, and you have 11,000. Okay, and in the second year,
1100.
how much you'll be getting?
1100.
10% on this whole amount, which is 1100. So you'll have after the
12,100.
second year, you have
12,100.
12,100, and in the third year, you'll get 10% on this amount, which is
Yes.
1210,
210.
and you'll get 13310.
Yeah.
Okay, if you check, this is an increase of 10%.
Yes.
Similarly, this is also an increase of 10%.
10%.
As you can also check here, this is also an increase of 10%.
10%.
This is also an increase of 10%. This is
Yes.
also an increase of 10%.
10%.
Very important. So compound interest is growing at the same rate, right? Whatever
Mm.
the rate that is given. The
Yes.
compound interest is growing at the same rate. Similarly, amount is also growing at the same rate.
Yes.
Are you getting this point? And what was happening in, let's say, with respect to this amount earlier? Was
It was,
amount growing at the same rate? It was growing at the same
it, it was,
value.
yes.
It was growing with the same value, right? Thousand,
Yes.
thousand, thousand, thousand.
Yes. Yes.
But here, is it growing with the same value? No, it is
No.
growing at the same rate.
Same rate. Yes.
All right, very important. So we can say amount and compound interest grow exponentially. This is geometric progression.
Yes.
What is happening? This 10% ka increase. What is 10% increase mean? That we need to multiply this value. Let's say 1000. 1 plus 10%, which is nothing but 1000. 1 into zero point 0.1. That means we are multiplying zero point 0.1 here. Similarly, we are multiplying zero point 0.1 here. So saying that something is increasing by 10% would mean we are multiplying this value by 1.1.
Yes.
Similarly, we are multiplying by 1.1 here.
Yes. And again by 1.1.
So this is nothing but GP,
Yes.
geometric
Point
progression.
1, 1.1 square, 1.1 cube.
A, we are multiplying by, let's say, R, then R, and
Then
so on. Important point. Amount after n years. You can directly remember the formula.
yes.
No need to go for these things, okay? Just
Okay.
for the simplicity. Amount after n years will be amount principal. See, with respect to simple interest, we were saying amount principal 1 plus n r percent.
Yes.
Similarly, for compound interest, you can take this n outside this bracket and on the power
Yes.
1 plus r percent to the power n. And amount is made of principal plus.
Principal and interest.
So compound interest, taking p on the right hand side and then taking p common. So you'll get compound interest for n years would be principal 1 plus r percent to the power n minus 1.
Minus 1.
Okay, formula wise, I don't think formula wise this is important, but okay, you can remember.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask,
Hmm.
where you've written the third year on
Huh.
the top right side.
This.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
So, what is that you've written against 10 p into r percent to the power?
If this is PR percent square, what will be this
Yes.
value? 10%. See, see this now. If I'm saying 10,
So
if let's say 100 was P, not that important. Because I have used all of this in order to derive this formula, but I have given this formula directly. So it doesn't make
If we
much.
underroot both, so we'll have 10 as PR percent.
No, you're not underrooting anything. So 100 is PR percent square. So how will you get a 10? You'll get a 10 by doing 10% of this value.
Hmm.
Similarly, you'll be getting, so 10% is nothing but R percent, right?
Yes.
Variable wise. So R percent of PR percent square. This would be PR percent of whole cube. R percent how many times? Power 2, power 1.
Yes.
So PR percent whole cube. This is the value.
Okay, so what was written initially, उसमें 2 into R percent square ये नहीं लिखा होता PR percent square.
It should be 2 PR percent.
Okay. 2 PR percent square plus PR percent cube, right?
But you don't need to remember.
Okay.
But understand what is happening. Initially I said this was P, this was R percent. So 1000 is PR percent.
Hmm.
All right. If
Hmm.
1000 is PR percent,
Again, it is
100
PR
would be
percent.
what? 1000.
Yes.
1100 would be 1000 plus 100.
Yes.
So 100 is this value, PR percent square.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
how will you make a 10? By doing 10% of 100,
Yes.
which is R percent of PR percent whole square. As in 10% of this value,
Yes. Understood. And the
PR.
value will get divided by 10 or um, because we are talking about 10% as the exponent grows, right?
Didn't understand what you're saying.
Since the exponent will grow, the value will decrease by a factor of 10 since we are talking about 10% in the previous example. And this is
Value grows. See, if you're
value
saying value grows,
of the exponent.
see, if you are multiplying by 1.1, तब तो value is increasing, right?
No, the interest part I'm saying.
हाँ,
PR percent cube
interest
is
part, that will,
10, so PR per
that,
Q PR percent to the power 4 will be 1. That is what I'm saying. It
PR
will
per,
be
PR
divided by 10 since we are talking about 10%.
yeah, yes.
Okay.
So all these small parts, as you are doing 10% of this value, or let's say 10, this would be 2 times of here.
Yeah.
As you are doing, let's say 10% of this value again,
Hmm.
this value is lesser than this value, and this value is lesser than this value.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm. Simple interest and compound interest are the same for the first year,
First year.
provided
Yes.
both have the same principal and same interest rate. So if 10,000 was, let's say, the initial amount or the principal, then simple interest for the first year is equal to,
Compound interest for the first year.
as you are already getting 10% here
Yes.
and 10%, sorry, 10% here, correct?
Yes. Uh, Function of compounding starts after the first period of interest, right?
I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
Then there is this thing called non-annual compounding. Here, what was happening is whatever you are saying, let's say 10% per annum. What does it mean? 10% per annum per year. So after this year ends or after 12 months are over,
Hmm.
then only you get, let's say, 10% on this 10,000.
Yes.
In between, you're not getting anything. Okay.
Mhm.
Now look at non-annual compounding. Okay. I've made three cases. Principal is 10,000 and rate is given 12% per annum, 12% per annum, but compounding is happening semi-annually. What does it mean? That
That after every 6 months, the interest would be calculated.
huh, that in place of, let's say, 12 months, you are getting an interest after every 6 months. So is it a profit with respect to, will we be getting more amount or lesser amount if we are, let's say,
More amount since the compounding is happening in a shorter period of time.
correct. So 12% was per annum for 12 months. So for 6 months,
6% per annum.
half,
6% for the
half,
period. Yes.
12 by 2%. Okay. And
Yeah.
if the amount is also invested for 1 year, okay. So we have written this formula earlier.
Yes.
Okay, we'll be writing the same formula here. Let's say amount, principal, 1 plus whatever the rate is, rate percent to the power n.
Yes.
Here n stands for,
Number of years.
here n will stand for number of
Compounding periods.
compounding periods or compounding durations. So if we have a period of 1 year and there's a semi-annual compounding happening every 6 months, then how many compounding periods are there?
2.
Similarly, what happened to the rate if we are doing semi-annual compounding?
6%.
R by 2, right?
Yes, R by 2.
So this would be the amount,
Okay.
correct? And with respect to, let's say, value-wise calculating, uh, let's say 10,000, after 6 months with a 6% interest, how much you'll get? 6,
600.
600. So you got 600 here. So what will happen here? You'll also get 6% on this amount, which is 600.
600, but 6% on 600 as well.
I'll also get 6% on this amount,
Yes.
which is
36.
36. So 636 here, 600 here, right?
Yes.
So this would be a total interest.
Yes. 1236.
Similarly, principal rate remains the same, but we are compounding quarterly. Let's
Okay.
say the period was 1 year. 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many compounding periods would be there as you are compounding quarterly? Quarter would mean 1/4 of the year. That means after every 3 months, compounding is happening. Is this point clear?
Yes.
So what will happen to the rate?
Divide by 4 since 4 compounding periods per year.
Yeah, so 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%. And let's say the total period was, let's say, number of years was 1, but how many compounding periods?
4
So 1 plus R by
by 4.
4%, and this would be 4 into 1. This is 2 into 1. Similarly, principal 10,000, rate 12%, compounded monthly. What will happen to the rate? I am going to write the formula now directly. 1 plus rate would get,
R by 12%.
and let's say
12 into 1. 12 into 2 for 2 years.
for 2 years, there will be 24 compounding periods. For 1 year, there will be 12 compounding periods. So 12 into 2. Is this clear? You only
Yes.
need to take care of the rate and the compounding period.
Yes. If
This
we
is
are
this
given.
is how you calculate, okay,
Mhm.
and this is how you write the formula.
Yes.
But don't be in a habit of always calculating, because let's say if you are talking about 4 compounding periods, you
Hmm.
can't calculate easily, right?
Hmm.
You may have to use the formula.
Yes.
You were saying something?
I was saying if the rate of interest is not telling us that if it is per annum, then what should we do? Like
Then
if it is just mentioned R is equal to 12%, nothing is written about annum or anything.
it will tell. Why won't it tell? The
Okay.
question will make it clear, man.
And if it says per quarter, then we don't have to divide by 4 simply.
12% per quarter. Then you don't have to do it.
Okay.
If it says 12% per annum, that means it is happening, rate is 12% per annum.
Yeah. Then
But
only you need to divide per quarter.
compounding is getting done monthly.
Yes.
Then you need to divide.
Okay.
Here are a few questions. Go for this question. 60 seconds for this question.
Just allow me a minute to.
Now let's discuss. What is the question saying?
A is the initial amount put into account.
Hmm.
Uh, R
R
is
is the.
the annual percent of interest written as a decimal.
What does it mean?
Uh, it's the rate of interest.
What is
R is the rate of interest.
as
R,
of the paper? It is not written.
R is the annual percent of interest written as a decimal, it says.
What does it mean then? Give me an example.
That R could be 5% or R could be 5.0%.
5.0%. No. देखो, it says the same thing. Annual percentage of interest. It is, let's say, 5%. But it is written as a decimal. See, R is 5%.
Hmm.
It is not R. It is not R is 5, but rather R is 5%. Initially, we were writing what? We were writing R percent, right?
Yes.
As in the value of R is 10. So 10%. Here it is saying that this percentage sign is already included. That R is 5%.
Okay.
Written as a decimal would mean the value of R is, let's say, 0.05.
Okay.
Same thing. And the interest compounds annually. So which of the following would be an expression? Which of the following would be an expression in terms of ANR for the interest accrued in 3 years?
Yes.
So amount for 3 years, let's say amount is what? Principal 1 plus R percent. Here R percent would be
Hmm. 0.0002.
no man. See, in our formula it was R percent.
R percent would just be R.
That's all. And this is amount after 3 years. And what was the principal? Let's say amount after 3 years minus whatever the initial value is. This would give you the compound interest for 3 years.
Yes.
The amount for 3 years minus principal. That is why I'm doing minus P. Can I write 1 plus R cube minus 1?
Okay.
What is A plus B the whole cube?
I don't know this formula.
Hmm. It should be A cube plus B cube plus 3A square B plus 3A B square minus 1. So 1 and 1 will get cancelled and you'll get R cube plus 3R plus 3R square. And what is the principal, by the way?
A.
A. A, this was 3A, this was 3A. 3R, 3R square, R cube. Is it clear? Formula based question.
Okay. Could you write down this formula for me? Just here only. A plus B whole cube.
A cube plus B cube plus 3A square B plus 3AB square,
Okay.
which could also be thought as A cube plus B cube 3AB, A plus B. Similarly, a minus b cube would be a cube minus b cube minus 3ab minus
Mhm.
b.
Okay.
Okay, so when you want to do a minus b cube, just put minus b in place of b and change.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
these two you can remember. 40 seconds.
Compounded daily
Compounding daily. Why?
because every day we'll earn interest over interest.
Interest over interest over interest. So
Yes.
this
So
would
this would give us the largest total amount.
after 2 years, right?
Yes.
Very good. This was conceptual question, no need to solve. Because compounding, let's say compounding quarterly would definitely give more amounts with respect to compounding annually. Compounding monthly will give more
More.
amounts with respect
Yes.
to
Quarterly.
compounding quarterly. So compounding daily would give more with respect to compounding monthly.
Quarterly. Monthly, sorry.
Go for this. 80 seconds for this question. Explain the question.
Uh, on his first birthday,
Hmm.
John weighed 3 times his weight, birth weight.
What is his birth weight?
Uh, X, let's say X.
Hmm. The first birthday.
He weighed 3x.
Hmm.
So on his second birthday, he weighed 50% more than he had weighed on his first birthday.
Hmm.
So 3x into 1 plus 50%,
So 1 plus 50% would be 1.5.
1.5, yes.
Hmm.
On his third, fourth, and fifth birthdays,
Hmm.
he weighed 10% more respectively
Hmm.
than he had on the immediately preceding birthdays.
Hmm.
So uh, every year the pre weight would increase by 1.1,
So here what will come?
3x into 1.5
Hmm.
into 1.1,
Here what will come?
3x into 1.5 into 1.1 into 1.1 square,
Hmm. Here what will come?
3x into 1.5 into 1.1 into
How
sorry,
many times 1.1?
3 times, so 1.1 cube,
This is equal to fifth
18.
birthday, 18. Which of the following represents his birth weight, which is x? So 18 divided by
3 into 1.5 into 1.1 cube.
hmm, so this is wrong. 18, and this is
A
also wrong.
is the correct one.
18, 1.1 cube, 1.5. You said C.
Yes, I made a mistake of
No, but you shouldn't. Well,
yeah,
this was not a question wherein you should make mistakes.
yes, yes. When I wrote X, though, I forgot that it was the initial value, not the first year's value.
Still,
Yeah,
you faltered in 1.1 square, but it should be 1.1 cube.
yes, yes.
Okay, go for this and
Okay,
don't be
just,
wrong.
just a second. Let me correct myself.
Hmm. Tell me. Explain, Aditya.
Uh, Alex deposited X dollars into a new account that earned 8% annual interest, compounded annually.
X dollars into a new account that earned.
8% annual interest compounded annually.
Hmm. Okay. 1 year later, what will happen?
X into 1 or plus 8%, 1.08.
Huh.
So 1 year later, Alex deposited additional X dollars into the account.
Okay.
So
If there were,
no transactions, and if the account contained W dollars at the end of 2 years.
hmm. Yes,
Which of the
according.
following expresses X in terms of W?
Okay. What will happen here? You tell me. What will happen with this?
So the amount will earn 8% over X into 1.08 and
Just
8%.
just a sec. Just a sec. So how should I write it?
Uh, so X into 1.08 into 1.08.
So 8% you're increasing
Yes,
this value. So x
yes,
into 1.08
into 1.08,
into 1 plus 8%, which is written as 1.08.
1.08
And what will
plus
happen with this value?
X into 1.08.
Hmm. Then,
This is equal to W.
so x into 1.08 square plus x into 1.08 is equal to w.
Yes,
You need
express.
x in terms of w.
Yes. So we'll take W uh,
You'll take w what?
on the left hand side.
Why? You take this to the denominator.
Okay, following express X in terms of W.
X in terms of w.
So when it says it's, something in terms of something, so
Man,
the
don't complicate, man. Don't complicate. Whenever whatever it says, you take one variable on one side, you take other variable on the other side. That's all.
no, the two variables were already on two different ends. That's why I'm asking.
So when it says x in
Uh,
terms of w, x is a function of
so
w.
X has to be isolated. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
The, the coefficient that is
See,
there
either
that
see
needs to
if
be expressed is
just a sec. W is equal to something into something. So this is w in terms of x. This
uh,
thing. This is x in terms of w. X
uh,
is equal to w upon something.
uh,
That's all.
that's what I'm asking. Like it says express something in terms of something. So that
So
first something needs to be isolated,
you are
right?
expressing x in terms of w. You are taking this to the denominator,
Yeah. So we need to isolate the term which needs to be expressed.
which needs to be
Expressed. Like X
okay,
needs to be expressed, right?
okay. But don't again I'm saying don't think too much on it. See, this is just one step, right?
Uh-huh.
From here to here, this is just one step wherein even if you don't understand x in terms of w,
Okay.
you see everything in terms of w, right? So you
Yes.
make everything in terms of w. That is why you are putting this into the denominator.
Okay.
But did you get the answer?
No, I could not solve it in the before you called out.
Solving is a problem for you. A little bit, I would say. You're taking more than usual. Option D is correct. Here, option D is the correct answer. 1.08 plus 1.08 square.
Yes.
This was an official question.
Okay.
Hmm. Go for this question, and you shouldn't falter in this, as you have already gone through it. And what does it say?
So we have to calculate.
Now, explain the question.
Okay. A sum of $3,310 is to be paid back in three equal installments.
Three equal installments. So can we just not divide this by three and those would be the three equal installments?
No, because it is going to earn interest at 10% compounded annually every
So,
year.
so what's happening is, let's say, this was your initial amount, okay?
Yeah. And it
And
is going to earn 10% every year.
hmm,
And after the third year, the amount should be zero.
no, no, first
It
of
should be
all,
completely repaid.
what's happening in the first year? Tell.
So the first year, this 3,310 is going to earn an interest of 10%. And out of that, some X amount is going to be repaid
Just a sec. So 33.
into 1.1.
This would be the total value here, right?
Yeah, at the end of first year.
At the end of first year, and you are
Yes.
paying your first installment at then, let's say X.
Yes.
You're paying here X, you're paying here X, you're paying here.
Yes. There's three equal installments.
Okay, so this is the amount that is as you have paid X,
Hmm.
your first installment. So what
Hmm.
is the principal for this year? This would be the principal
Yes.
for this year. Okay,
Yes. Yes. So 3310 into 1.1 minus X
this
is
is
going
it,
to be the principal.
and
And
you'll get
again into
10% on this.
1.1.
Let's say 1 plus 10%, which is 1.1.
And again at the end
And
of the year.
this is at the end of the second year,
Yes.
and you are paying X
That
dollars
X.
from it.
Yes.
This would be the principal for the third year,
Yes.
on which you'll get 10% extra.
Yes. At the end of the year, and we'll be paying X dollars out of it.
Yeah. So this is the amount that we are talking about, right?
Yes. Minus X
This would be the total amount
at
minus,
the end of the year and minus X, which will give us zero
as you have paid all the
amount.
installments.
Yes.
Now it would be zero. And if I
Yes.
solve, this was in the same bracket. So let's say 33 into 1.1, and this was getting multiplied by both these terms, right?
Yes. Yes. So 33 into 1.1 square minus 1.1x
Okay. Now this box
minus x.
uh, minus, let's say, x, and what I'm doing is taking this x to the left hand side,
Yeah.
okay, and dividing. Let's say I'm saying this minus x goes here, so it would become something like this.
Yes.
And then I'm taking this. See, this is some box into 1.1 is equal to x, so I'm taking
Yes.
this 1.1
Yes.
here. Okay.
Yeah.
And what will this value be?
So this would be yes 1.21 x into 1.21
No.
is zero point 0.1 x.
Arey bhaiya, what are you doing, man? What will be the addition?
Sorry, minus.
No.
We are going to add these two, na? 1.1x minus x. So
Yeah.
minus 2.1x. So on the right hand side, it would be 2.1x plus 2.1x.
Okay. Now you can multiply with this. Come on. 1.1, if I'm multiplying it here, it would give me 1.1 cube,
Yes.
and 1.1 into 2.1, it would be how much?
1.1 into 2.1.
11 into, what is 11 into 21? 220 plus 11.
220 plus 11, 231.
And how many decimal places? Let's see.
2.31.
This would be 1 plus
So we
2.0.
took this 1.1 to the left hand side, no?
We took this.
1.1 to the left hand side.
We took this whole value to the right hand side, which became 2.1x. And this is x upon 1.1.
Yeah, so the 1.1 below x on the right hand side of the second.
But you can't directly multiply this here, no? First, you need to solve this as in,
Okay. Okay, yes, correct. We should first make it common.
okay. So let's
Yes,
say this is 1.1 square. Then you can
yes,
multiply
yes. So it's 3310 into 1.1 cube,
1.1 cube. And this is,
3.31.
which is, let's say 331 by
100.
100.
Yes,
We have three zeros,
yes,
331 into
10,
1. This is 1000 into 1.1 cube is
1.1.
11 cube is
1.21 into 1.1.
1.331.
Okay. So 1331 is x.
1331. I would say this is a difficult question based on calculation, okay,
Yes.
but it is good for practice.
Okay.
We are paying
Conceptual
in,
understanding basically.
yeah, we are paying in three equal installments. So this some amount, as in this amount will increase by 10%, then we'll pay something, then whatever is left, we'll be getting some interest on it, as in it'll increase, then we'll again subtract what we have paid, that is your second installment, then the remaining thing will again increase by 10%, then we'll pay, let's say minus x, and it will become
Okay.
0. This is what we have done.
Yes.
Go for this one. Okay, you explain the question first.
Okay. So bank offers an interest of 5% per annum compounded annually on all its deposits.
Okay, 5%.
Yes. If 10,000 is deposited, what will be the ratio of the interest earned in fourth year to
Okay,
the interest earned in fifth year?
okay. All right. How will we go about this?
So what I wanted to ask is just a,
So, let's say bank offers an interest of 5%. So you know the interest, right? 5%, let's say for the first year. 500. 10,000 is deposited. What will be the ratio of interest earned in the fourth? Let's say first, second, third, fourth, fifth. But you know that interest will also increase by the same rate, right? 5%.
yes,
Now you can do this is, let's say 500 into, it increased by 5%. So 1.5, 1.05 to the power 1 for second year. For third year, it would be 500 into, let's say 1.05 to the power 2,
2
right? Fourth year, what will happen?
power 3
Similarly, for fifth year,
to the power 4.
1 is to 1.05, which is nothing but 100 is to 105. This is
Yes,
one way. The second way is what you are saying. Let's say it was X. X just increased by what? 5%.
yes,
And this would give you Y. So X into 1.05 is Y. And you need interest earned in the fourth year, which is X, divided by interest earned in
y
the fifth year, which is 1 upon 1.05, which is,
100 by 105.
this is what you're saying. So think with respect to compound interest.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Hmm. Go for this one. Huh. What is the question saying?
It says a 3-year certificate of deposit is purchased for X dollars.
Okay.
It the certificate earns interest at an annual rate of 4% compounded quarterly. So
Annual rate of 4%, but
compounded quarterly. So
quarterly.
four compounding periods per year.
So for per quarter, the interest would be 4 by 4,
1%. Yes.
1%. Hmm.
Which
Okay.
of the following, okay, represents the value in terms of dollars of the certificate at the end of 3 years?
So amount at the end of 3 years would be principal, which is X, into 1 plus rate, which is 1% to the power
1%.
of number of compounding periods. In
Yes,
one
yes.
year, there will be 4 compounding periods. With 3 years,
So
there will be
12. So x into 1.01 to the power 12.
this is this what you got?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hmm. All right. I will start ratios. Just a sec. Okay, let's start with ratios. Important topic with respect to problem solving, with respect to the data insights portion that contains integrated reasoning and data sufficiency. Important for GRE topics. Important for this is for GMAT, whether it's GRE, whether it's CAT. This topic is extremely important. Okay, when I say A ratio
Okay.
B, I mean to say A by B. I mean to say 3 by 5. If A ratio B is 3 is to 5 or 3 ratio 5, then it is not necessary that A is equal to 3 and B is equal to 5. Okay.
Yes.
I am saying it could be 3 into 1, 5 into 1,
Three into two, 5 into 2.
or anything. Okay.
Yes.
So this could be one of the values of A and B. All right. But there could be other values of A and B. Are you getting my point? So whenever you see this A ratio B is 3 is to 5, one important thing that you can do is actual value. The actual value of A could be 3K, will
Yeah.
be 3K, and actual value of B will be
Yeah.
5K.
A common coefficient.
Yeah, some multiple of 3, some multiple of 5. See, K could also be some fraction. Okay, so let's not say some multiple of 3, some multiple of 5. You can just say A is equal to 3K, 5K. If K is an integer, then you can say some multiple of 3 and some multiple of 5. Okay.
Yes.
Similarly, if I'm saying A ratio B is 3 is to 5. For example, if I multiplied a 2 to the ratio, so 6 is to 10, let's say, what is 3 by 5 in percentages? 60%.
60%.
Similarly, 6 by 10 would also be 60%.
Yes.
So is the value of the ratio changing if you're multiplying by something?
No.
Even if you, let's say, multiply by 100, you'll get 0.0. Even if you divide by 100,
Yeah. 0.03 to 0.05.
again, if you do 0.03 divided by 0.05, it will still be 3 by 5, it will still be 60%. Okay, very
Yes.
important. Multiplying or dividing a ratio with some constant will not affect the ratio. Okay, so multiplication and division you can do in the ratio, but
Yes.
addition and subtraction, don't do addition and subtraction. What do I mean? What does it mean? If I'm saying 3 is to 5, you can't randomly add a 1 or subtract a 1 because it will change the ratio. It
Yeah.
may change the ratio. Let's say
Yes. 4 is to 6. 2 is to 3.
2 is to 3. So this is 60%, this is 66.66%.
Yes.
And why did I write may change the ratio? For example, if the numbers were same, for example, 2 is to 2, then adding something, let's say plus 1, if these are the actual numbers, let's say 2, 2, then adding a 1 and a 1, let's say 3 is to 3. Is it changing the ratio? Earlier it was 1 is to 1. Now as well it is 1 is to 1.
Actual value, it won't change, but since we don't know,
Right now, here we know that both the values are same. Okay.
Ah,
So adding a 1 or let's say subtracting a 1, it won't affect my ratio. But you shouldn't be doing this addition and subtraction by some constant. Never.
yes.
Shouldn't use it. The only thing that you should be using is you,
Multiplication and division.
you can multiply or divide. Okay. So this is the first example. A ratio B is 1 is to 2 and B ratio C is 2
2 is to
ratio 3. You need to write all the ratios of, let's say, A, B, C ratio together. Since I can see there are two ratios and the value of B is the same in both the ratios, can I
yes.
write directly
Yes. 1 is
A
to 2 is
ratio?
to 3.
Okay, this is clear.
Yes.
Similarly, when you have, let's say, A ratio B, B ratio C, again, you need to find A ratio B is 1 is to 2. This is ratio, okay. And you have B ratio C as 4 is to 3. What should I do? As I see that there are two values of B and I need to write the values
1.
of A, B, C together, the ratio
Yes.
together.
We need to
So
find a common value for B, so we'll multiply the initial ratio by 2.
2.
Yes.
So you'll get A ratio B ratio C as 2 ratio 4
Yes.
ratio 3.
Yes. If
Similar.
division would have been possible for C, we could have divided it as well, right?
What?
If division would have been possible for the value of C,
Hmm.
so we
Yeah,
could have divided it as well.
yes. Whether all I mean to say is whether you are multiplying, whether you are dividing,
Yes.
you need to make the value of B same in both the ratios.
Yes. Yes.
Similarly, A ratio B 1 is to 2, B ratio C is 5 ratio 3. How will you make 2 and 5 common?
Lowest common multiple, 10 into 5 and into 2.
Into 2. So the ratio comes out
So
to
10
be
is to 6.
5 is to 10 is to 6. Very good. Similarly, how should I deal with this? If
So this is A is equal to 2.
A by 2, B by 3, C by 4.
Yeah. So
Maybe one or two ways of going through this, going for this question. Let's say one way could be you write A ratio B from here and B ratio C. What is A ratio B from here? If you
2 is
take
to 3.
similarly B ratio C,
3 is to 4.
and it would come directly, right?
Yes.
The other way could be you know that let's say this upon this is same as this upon this is same as this upon this, right?
Yes.
Let's say this is equal to some value. This ratio is equal to this ratio is equal to this ratio is equal to, let's say, some value k. So
Yes.
can I write a by 2 is equal to k? So a is equal to 2k.
Yes.
Similarly, b by 3 is equal to k. So what is the value of b?
3K. 3K.
Similarly, the
E is
value of,
equal to 4K.
so a ratio b ratio c is nothing but 2 ratio 3 ratio
6
4.
to 4. Yes.
Similarly, for this, you can just write the ratio or let's say these ratios are same. Okay. So if I assume this value to be something, here I have assumed the value to be k, right?
Yes.
For example, something divided by 2, something divided by 3, something divided by 4 is equal to some value. If you
Okay.
were to assume this value, what value can you assume for k, I'm saying?
A common multiple.
Let's say a common multiple of 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
which
12.
is 12. If you're assuming this to be 12, what could be the value of a?
6.
Correct. A by 2 is equal to 12.
Okay. So
So
24.
24.
A is 24. B
Similarly,
is
this value,
36. And C is 48.
even if you take 24, which is 12 into 2,
Yes.
36 is 12 into 3, 48 is 12 into 4.
12
You'll
to
get
4.
the answer, right?
Yes. 2:3:4.
Similarly, this either you write A ratio B directly. What will be A upon B from here?
3:2.
Similarly, B ratio C or B by C.
4:3.
You just multiply the above
Two.
ratio by 2
Yes.
and
6
the
is to
answer.
4 is to 3.
Correct?
Yes.
And similarly, see whatever that is coming in the denominator here. Let's say you have written A by 2 is to B by 3 is to C by 4. And if you are finding A ratio B ratio C, it is coming the same, right? Whatever that is there in the denominator,
Yes.
the ratio.
Yes.
So whatever that was there in the denominator, the
What's
ratio.
the ratio, corresponding ratio?
So similarly, can you apply the same thing here? But you have to, the answer is 6 is to 4 is to 3. You already know this answer.
Uh-huh.
Can I say this value is nothing but A upon 1 by 2, similarly B upon 1 by 3, C upon 1 by 4. Because 2, how do we solve this? Taking 2 to the numerator,
Yes.
that will become 2A. Similarly, 3 to the numerator,
Yes.
3B.
Yes. Yes.
So can I say the ratio A ratio B ratio C is nothing but 1 by 2 is to 1 by 3 is to 1 by 4?
Yes.
And how will I simplify the ratio? Let's say
Taking
this question. A ratio B ratio C is 1 by 3 is to 1 by 4 is to 1 by 6. If I
yeah,
were to simplify,
multiply by a common multiple. 12.
multiply by a common multiple of, let's say, 3, 4, 6,
12.
which is 12. So 12 by 3, 4,
4.
12 by 4, 3, 12 by 6, 2.
4.
Similarly, what should I multiply here?
12.
12. So 12 by 2 is 6,
6 is
12 by
to
3, 4.
4 is to 3.
Good. Similarly, this A ratio B is given 1 is to 2, B ratio C is given 1
1
is
is
to
to
2.
2 and C ratio D is even 1 is to 2.
Okay, how do I start?
We should start from the lowest.
We
Well,
can start from anywhere, we'll be getting the answer. That's not a
yes.
problem.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
but let's start from C, 2 and
Yes.
1. So I'm
Yes.
making this as 2.
Yes.
Now, B is 2 here, B is 1 here. What should I do?
Multiply by 2.
Multiply this ratio by 2. So 2. Now C has become 4 here, but C
Yes.
here is 2. What should I do?
Multiply again by 2.
Multiply again by 2. So the final value of A is 2 into 1.
1 is to, oh, sorry, 2 into 2 is to 4 is to 8.
Just a sec. A is 1, B is 2, and this was 2.
So 1 is to 2.
So A is 1,
1 is to 2 is to 4 is to 8
B is 2, C is 4,
is to 8. D is 8.
D is 8. Important. Here, there were two values that we need to make same.
Yes.
All right. So variation is also a part of ratios. Let's say direct variation. I'm talking about direct proportionality or direct proportion. If I'm saying x is directly proportional to y, what does it mean, or what do I mean? Inverse
If
variation, x is inverse,
inversely proportional to y.
and mixed variation, I'm saying, let's say x is proportional to, let's say, y square upon z.
Okay.
When I say this, what does it mean? If y increases, x
X
increases.
also increases.
If y
Y
decreases,
decreases, X also decreases.
and in order to remove this proportionality, I'm writing x is equal to ky. In order to remove this proportionality, I'm saying x is equal to some constant times of 1 by y.
Yes.
In order to remove this proportionality, I'm saying x is equal to k times of y square upon z.
Right.
K stands for a constant.
Constant.
Okay? If I'm taking one a constant on one side and variables on the other, then I'll get x by y is equal to some constant.
Yes.
This means that the ratio is always constant for any pairs of values. For example, x1 upon y1 will be same as x2 by y2, will be same as x3 upon y3, and so on.
Yeah. The relationship between the two will remain same.
The ratio of
Will
these
remain
two
same.
will
Yes.
be the same. Similarly, here I am writing x into y is equal to constant. That means product of two numbers will always remain constant. So
Yes.
for a set of values, let's say x1, y1 product is equal to x2 into y2 product is equal to x3 into y3 product and so on.
Yes.
Similarly for this, some constant. So x into z upon y square is equal to some constant. So for a particular set of values, say x1, z1, y1, x1, z1, y1 square is equal to x2, z2, y2 square is equal to x3 z3 upon y3 square
Yes.
is equal to constant.
Yes.
Okay, important. I think these two are important, and whenever it is given in the question, something like this, you can solve by saying x is equal to k times of something.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Mixtures, important. Not with respect to examination because this is just an application of ratios. Okay. We
Yes.
are not learning anything new, but mostly students find this topic a bit confusing. All right.
Yes.
So some things I've included. What does it mean to say we have, let's say, 400 units of 6%
6% phosphoric acid.
solution? See, it does not mean that we have 6% phosphoric acid. It means phosphoric acid is 6% of the total. What is the
Yes.
total?
400.
So phosphoric acid is how much?
24 units.
24 units. So when I am saying I have, let's say, a 5% alcohol solution, what does it mean? Am I saying that 5% of alcohol? Let's say if it's
No. 5% of solution.
uh, I, if I'm saying 5% alcohol, this is just a way of saying. Actually, I mean to say alcohol is 5% of the solution or 5% of total.
Yes.
Okay, don't get confused in this. And two things you need to keep in mind when you're solving mixture questions. Say this is some mixture, let's say mixture of milk, water, mixture of milk and water. I'm adding these two. For example, I have taken 10 liters of this 10 liters of this mixture and let's say 20 liters of this mixture.
Yes.
So what would be the volume of the resultant mixture?
30 liters.
So that means volume of this solution plus volume of this solution is equal to the total volume.
Yes.
Similarly, for example, this was a 10-liter solution, 20-liter solution. Milk was, let's say, 5 liters here. Milk was 10 liters here.
Yes.
So what would be the final quantity of milk?
15 liters.
15 liters. So amount of, this is difficult, but amount of, let's say, milk in solution 1 plus
Yes.
amount of milk in solution 2 is equal to total
Total
amount
amount
of
of
milk
solution.
in the resultant solution.
Yes.
With these two equations, any mixture problem can be solved.
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
let's see. Okay, let's solve a few questions. Go for this question.
Okay.
Also, one thing that I would want to tell is, let's say you have a solution of milk and water. For example, the solution is of 100 liters and you have, let's say, milk two parts and water 3 parts. All right.
Okay.
So what is the percentage of milk in the mixture?
It's 40%.
2 upon 5, or let's say if milk is
Two
2 parts, water is 3 parts, so total would
total
be
is 5.
5. And this is 100. So how can I make this total as 100? I can multiply by 20.
Yes.
So milk is 40 out of 100. So 40 by 100 is 40%.
Yes.
Similarly, water would be 60%. Okay.
Yes.
This is simple, but students find it challenging when I say uh, that 25 liters of the solution is removed. If I'm removing 25 liters of the solution,
Uh,
okay,
uh,
can you tell me what is the percentage of milk in the mixture and percentage of water in the mixture after removing 25 liters of milk?
Same.
Same. But let's calculate and check.
Okay.
So see, this is a mixture and you're removing 25 liters. So
Of
what is
mixture.
the ratio of milk and water in this 25 liters?
2:3.
The same. Okay, it shouldn't be the case wherein you're just drawing milk or water.
Yes. Yes. It's
It
the
will be
mixture.
in the same ratio, right?
Yes.
So milk is to water is 2 is to 3. So total would
5.
be 5 and you're removing a total of 25. So,
Yes. 10 to 15.
so milk you're removing 10 liters,
Yes.
water you're removing 15.
15
So
liters.
earlier milk was 40.
Yes.
So now milk would be 30.
Yes.
Water was 60,
45.
45. Again check the ratio.
2:3.
Again check the percentage. The same,
40
40%,
and 60.
60%. Because now you'll have
75
the 30 by 75.
into 100.
30 by 75 would be 2 by 5, which is
Yes.
40%.
Yes.
Okay, important. Now go for this. Tell me what the question is saying.
By weight, liquid A makes up 8% of solution R.
Liquid.
And
Okay, solution.
okay,
This is solution R.
so 8% A, it has 8% A.
A is 8% of R.
And in solution S, it's 18% A.
Okay.
If 3 grams of solution R
uh,
is mixed with 7 grams of solution S,
okay.
then liquid A accounts for what percentage of the weight of the resulting solution?
So what is the percentage, as in what is the weight of the resulting solution?
10. 3 plus 7, 10.
10. And liquid A counts
0.24 grams of A.
from here
Yes.
and
And 1.26
as in
grams
A.
from,
So A accounts for, let's say, 8% of 3 plus
yes, 18% of 7.
so 8 threes are 24, 18 into 7 is 126,
Yes.
which
Which
is
is 1.5 of total 10. So 15%.
1.5 upon 10.
15%.
So liquid A divided by weight of the resulting solution, which is 10. So 15 by 100, which is nothing but 15%.
Yes.
Very good. Go for this one.
Okay.
Recording. Yeah.
A certain charity is conducting a fundraiser.
Uh,
For the first $9,000 raised by the charity,
uh.
Company B will contribute $1 for every $3 collected by the charity.
Okay, so how much company B has contributed?
For every now 9,000, it will contribute $3,000.
The ratio is 1 is to 3. For
Yes.
1 is to 3. So if it is 9,000, then company B will contribute.
3,000.
Okay.
For any amount over 9,000 raised by the charity,
Uh,
company B will contribute $2 for every 5 collected by the charity.
okay. So let's say charity has raised $3 above 9,000. So how much
Yes.
company B will contribute?
Uh,
2 for
2,
every 5, matlab 2 upon 5
5 of C.
is 40%,
Yes,
which is let's say 2/5 of C.
C.
Okay.
So, how much money must the charity raise in order to reach a total of 68,000, including contribution by company B?
Okay. How much money must the charity raise in order to reach a total of this, including
68,000.
the contributions from company B?
E.
So this 68,000 should equal what?
Uh,
The 68,000 is will be equal to what? Let's say contribution by company B.
yes, and the charity's
Okay.
raised fund.
So how much fund has the charity raised?
So, since we know that 9,000 is definitely raised, since a total is
Plus
68.
plus C is also raised, right?
Yes, yes.
Similarly, contribution by company B would be.
3,000 plus 2 by 5C.
Did you do this same thing?
Not by the equation,
Hmm.
by firstly taking the 9,000 contribution and then deducting it from 68 and then
Okay.
calculating.
All right. Okay. But this 68,000 will equal all of it. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes,
Amount raised by the charity plus contributions by company B.
yes.
So 12,000 plus C.
C plus 2 by 5C, 7 by 5C.
So
So
7 by
56,
5 C is
56,000
so 7 8s are, and
and 40,000.
so shall I just take 40,000 as my answer?
No, the 9,000 we have to take in account as well.
Yeah. So it is the value of C, but the total would be 49,000.
Yes,
The answer would be 49. Very good.
yes, yes.
Go for this.
Y goal
So,
in a bucket containing Y golf balls.
hmm.
3 by 6 of the balls are white. 3 by 16 of the balls are white.
White is 3 by 16.
16.
So
Yeah.
yellow would be,
13 by 16.
and the rest are yellow. 13
Yes.
by 16 of,
Y.
hmm,
After T additional balls are placed in the bucket,
okay.
where half of the additional balls are white and half are yellow
Where?
in the bucket,
Where?
where half of T are yellow and half of T are white.
Hmm. Half of T,
Yes, are
yellow.
yellow and half of T are white.
Good.
So 3 by 8 of the balls in the bucket will be white.
White is 3 by 8 of the total.
Yes,
What is the total?
Y plus T.
Hmm. And what is the number of white balls? Initially there were
3 by 16y plus t by 2.
plus T by 2. Just need to solve this. Have you
Yes,
solved this?
I was solving this only.
Okay. What would be the next step?
We'll take the LCM,
LCM of what?
LCM of the left hand side. So it would be
Left hand
16.
side y. See, you need the ratio of t is to y. So you need to put all the t terms on one side and all the y terms on the other side.
Yes, we should do that first.
3t by 8 minus t by 2. Now you can do, see, as in the denominator, you see 8 and 16.
Yeah,
Now I'm multiplying by 2 here.
yeah,
Now I'll multiply by
4.
4 here.
Yes.
So 3t minus
Minus
4t
40
minus
minus t by 8.
and here 3
Here,
minus 6
so minus 36 by 16. Minus 3y by 16.
minus and minus will get cancelled. 8 2s are 16.
Yes,
So y, so you need t upon y. So taking y to the denominator,
yes, is equal to 3 by 2.
is this clear? If you have
Yes.
reached till here, I don't think there is any conceptual problem.
Yeah, I was there only.
So, so no conceptual problem. Calculation could be a problem. I mean, you will solve it, but if you are taken as in the LCM here, then you would have to
Yeah, that would.
separate y and t in the
Yes,
next
yes,
step.
yes.
Cool?
Yes, sir.
Go for this. Explain.
Solution A is 10% salt by weight,
Salt is 10%.
and solution B is 20% salt by weight.
Okay.
So, how many grams of solution B must be added to 200 grams of solution A?
Let's say x grams
Yes,
to make a new solution.
of 12% salt.
So in the resultant solution, there is what?
12% salt.
Okay. So for
Yes.
example, this question, let's say this question.
Yes.
Okay, these are from mixtures. Similarly, this question could be called as a mixture question, but let's say ratio question. Okay,
Mhm.
in the next, in the later stages when we are learning arithmetic, then I would tell you how to go about this question via ligation. Okay.
Okay.
But
Okay.
right now, since we are learning mixtures, I think it makes more sense if you solve the question.
Yes.
Okay, how will you solve the question? Again, mixture theory is just this. Did you solve the question? Were you able to solve?
I made the equation.
Okay. Uh, so how did you make the equation?
So, 10% of 200.
That means you are saying salt in solution A
Yes.
plus
Plus
salt in solution B is equal to salt in the resultant, or
salt in, yeah, 12% of 200 plus X.
okay. So salt in A is 10% of
20.
200
Yes.
plus 20% of X is
X
equal to
200. 12% of 200 plus X.
okay. See, you have 12% of 200, which is
24.
10% of 200.
20.
And this is 20% X, 12% X. This
Yes.
would be
0.04X.
no, no, 20%
That's
X,
right.
12% X, so 8% X. 20
Yes.
minus 12 would be
Yes,
8
yes,
now.
yes, yes, yes. Sorry.
24 minus 20 is 4. Okay. Percentage would mean 100 divided by
Yes.
100.
Yes.
100 into 4
50.
is 400.
X is
400 by
50.
8 is 50.
Yes.
But what is the question saying? Asking how many grams of solution B must be added?
Yes. So X is the total, and
How,
20% of 50 is 10.
what? No, no. The question is asking how many grams of solution B must be added. So
So 50 grams.
50 grams. Yes. Okay. So where did you falter? What took longer?
Uh, Understanding the equation, I
Under
was able to make the equation
Huh.
not solve it.
Okay. But unable to solve it?
Not unable to, I just took time to form the equation,
Okay.
analyzing the question.
Okay, and there will be only two kinds of equations that we'll be making. Maybe with respect to salt, or maybe with respect to, let's say, weight of A, as in total weight of A plus total weight of B is equal to the weight of resultant or resulting solution. These are the only two equations that you can make in a mixture question.
Yes.
You have to think with respect to this. Okay, go for this one. First of all, go through the question.
Three 16-ounce bottles,
So, volume of the bottles is provided.
16 ounces,
Huh.
MRS, are filled with three different beverages.
Hmm. Are filled with three different beverages. Okay.
Yeah. The amount of sugar contained in bottle M is,
Sugar in M. Okay.
yes,
Is,
is 1 by 4th of the amount of sugar contained in bottle R.
let's say sugar in R, sugar is SR, sugar in S is, let's say, S. So amount contained in bottle, amount of
SM
sugar.
is 1 by 4 of SR.
So SM
And
is to SR is 1:4.
yes,
Huh. And
SM S to SS is 2 is to 5.
अरे
SM is equal to
read the whole question, man.
the
Amount of
amount of sugar contained in bottle M
M,
is 1 by 4 of
is 1/4 of sugar contained
sugar
in
in
bottle R.
bottle R and 2 by 5 of total of the amount of sugar contained in bottle S.
Okay. So SM is to SS would be.
2 is to 5.
Okay. Now, if I were to combine, erasing this, I have two ratios. And if I were to write SMS to SS here, I have 2 is to 5 here, right? 2 is
Yes,
to 5. Then I need to multiply this ratio by 2.
yes, 5 is to 2 is to 8.
So SS is to SM is to SR is 5 is to 2 is to 8. And what is the question saying?
The amount of sugar contained in bottles R and S combined.
Stop. Amount of sugar contained in R and S combined. Let's say 5K, 8K, 13K. Okay.
Yes, is what fraction of the total amount of sugar in bottle R, which is 8. So 8K.
So 13 by 8.
E.
Okay. So what was the challenge?
The challenge was I was confused that where should I find the amount of sugar from because a relationship is given but no idea about sugar is given.
So you could have assumed sugar in M is as in some variable sugar for sugar in M, some variable for sugar in R, some variable for sugar in S.
But I
Just
was unable to dissect where to, which should be considered, let's say, X.
see, even I didn't know when I read the first line on how to go about it. I thought maybe 16 ounce had some role to play.
Yes.
Maybe three different beverages had some role to play. But once I saw the second line, I came to realize that it was just a ratio question, nothing else. This is just ratio question, right?
Yeah, because you see, I also wrote sugar in M is equal to 1 by 4 of R and 2 by 5 of S.
Hmm.
But I wasn't, I did not have it in mind to compare it as a ratio,
Okay.
like 1 is to 4 and 2 is to 5. I was thinking on the regard of sugar, like where should I get the quantity of sugar from? There is no indication about the weight or anything.
Okay. But you needed a relationship between the sugars.
Yes.
So that could only be provided by a ratio.
No scope of taking something as X was there in this question. Like
So
using that approach, is it adequate here?
what?
You,
You could assume in place of SM, you could assume it as X, Y, Z. But apart from it, I don't think there's any.
no, if sugar in M is equal to X, then 1 by 4 of
Again, you're complicating the question.
no, thinking in terms of algebra.
Why?
Because
Again, my question is
equation 2
again,
amount
my
of sugar
question is
was not given. So that was how I was thinking.
no. Again, my question is when a question can be solved by a ratio, why would you dive deep into algebra?
It did not strike me, to be honest.
Okay, all right. So keep that in mind. Even
Okay.
with respect to what you are saying, amount in this is 1/4 of this and 2/5 of this. Okay, one
Yes.
fourth of something, 2/5 of something.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to maybe assume two variables, and this would come. Let's say if you assume this as y and z, so this would be 1/4 of y, and this would be 2/5 of z. Then you would know that these two values are the same. Then you would equate it. All right,
Equated with.
with each other.
Okay, Y is to Z का relationship.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think this is the way that you should go. Simple
Okay.
ratio, simple application.
Yes. This is simple. This just I couldn't go in that direction.
Hmm, got it. Go for this one. Hmm, that's all. Explain the question. Aditya. Aditya, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Is the answer 50?
I don't know. Go for it.
Okay. A certain map is drawn to scale.
Hmm.
The ratio of actual distance between city A and city B
Actual.
and the distance on the map between the points representing the two cities is 250,000 to 1.
Okay. So let's say 1 unit on the map is equivalent to 250,000 units in the actual world.
Yes.
Let's say 1 centimeter here would be equal to 250,000 centimeters in the actual scale as
Yes.
actual
Yes.
scenario.
Yes. The distance on the map between cities A and B is 20 centimeters.
So how can you make this one as 20?
Yes. By
Next.
20, multiplying by 20,
Okay. So this becomes how many
50 lakh,
27 into 2 is
50 lakhs.
50 and how many zero? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
If this is 20 centimeters, then this is also
Centimeter.
something centimeters.
Yes.
And this is the actual distance between city A and B. Okay.
Yes. So we need to
So,
find the distance in kilometers.
okay. So we need know 1 kilometer is
1000 meter,
1,000 meters and 1 meter is equal to
100 centimeter. So 1 kilometer is 1 lakh centimeters.
2 centimeters. So 1 centimeter would be you divide 1 kilometer by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So similarly, in order to convert this into kilometers, you need to divide this whole thing by how many zeros?
One, 5 zeros, 1 lakh basically.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the answer would be 50 kilometers.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe you have found the correct answer, but I wouldn't say that you have solved this question with ease. Okay.
Because I was like 250 to 1. What is 250 and 1? What is 1? Like,
It is given now actual
what?
distance and distance
Yes,
was
but उसके आगे कुछ कोफिशिएंट नहीं था, तो I was confused. Like, what is the relationship with centimeter?
acha acha.
Then I
See,
then I
so this is this is not good. Why? Because ratio में तो there will never be any units. This is
yes,
ratio, right?
yes.
It will never have any unit.
So I just solved the way you did it,
Hmm.
but मैं question में I was stuck कि what is the relationship between the first line and the second line, because there is no coefficient to the values in the first.
Coefficient. Where is the coefficient?
Like it is written A and B, distance on map is 20 centimeters. So what is 1? Is it centimeter or what?
That is the whole game, na? मतलब,
So once I considered it as centimeter and converted the values, so I was able to find the answer.
no, but you should remember that ratio will not have any units. कभी भी नहीं. When I'm saying 1:2,
Hmm.
it doesn't have any units. This is 1 unit, then this is 1 unit, 2 units. If I'm saying this is 1 centimeter, then this is 2 centimeter, but overall it doesn't have any units.
So what was the I would say this trick or the the uh,
Look,
blind spot in this question?
nothing. Map and actual distance. The scale
Uh,
is this.
yes,
1 unit on the map. Let's say 1 unit on the map is equivalent to, let's say,
250,000 units on
actual
actual.
scale. Let's say
Yes,
1 kilometer on the map. If I'm drawing 1 kilometer on the map, that is equivalent to saying 250,000 kilometers on the actual thing.
yes.
That was the whole thing. Scale,
Okay,
scaling, magnifying.
okay.
If I'm saying 20 centimeter here, if I'm saying centimeters here,
Uh,
then centimeter will also come here because overall the centimeter and centimeter is going to get cancelled.
yes. Okay. So centimeter was to be picked up from the second line and to be assumed for the first one.
Don't make any rules, man. Again, you're trying to make a story out of it. Don't do it. Centimeter, here it was centimeters, hence I have taken everything to be centimeter.
Okay,
That's all.
ठीक.
This would be the last question. Go for it. Okay, let's solve. Seed mixture, some mixture X is
40% ryegrass,
R is, let's say, 40% and
R and 60% B by weight. Seed mixture Y is 25% R and 75% F.
hmm,
So
the
if
mixture of X and Y contains R is 30% ryegrass. What
yes,
percentage of the weight of the mixture is X, right?
yes,
Let's say this is X, this is Y, so this would be X plus 1.
yes.
So what is the connecting link?
Uh, Ryegrass,
Ryegrass. So ryegrass in X plus ryegrass in Y,
ryegrass in Y is equal to ryegrass in X and Y.
which is 30% of X. Sorry,
X plus Y.
30% of X plus Y. Ryegrass in X would be 40% of X, and here it would be 25% of Y.
Yes.
So 40% X, 30% X, 10% X, 30 minus 25, 5% of Y.
So
So
X by Y
Y
is
is
5 by
equal
10.
Y is equal to 2X. So the percent will get cancelled, 5 to the 10. Y is equal to 2X. Y is equal to, let's say, 2X. What percentage of the weight of the mixture? What percentage of weight of the mixture? What is the weight of the mixture? X plus Y. X plus 2X is 3X.
Yes.
Is mixture X. Mixture X weight is X. So X by 3X is 1 by 3. 1 by 3 is 33.5. 33%.
What percentage वाली बात एक बार फिर से could you repeat?
1 by 3 is 33.33%.
नहीं, the total mixture is x by y or
What
3x.
does it mean? Well, you shouldn't be asking this
Yeah.
question. What does it mean? Tell me, what does it mean? What percentage of the weight of the mixture? What is coming in the denominator?
3x.
Weight of the mixture, which is x plus y. Y is 2x, as we have calculated. So 3x. So what percentage of this is x? X is what? X is
Okay.
weight of
X.
the
The
mixture.
x is just x, so x upon 3x is okay. 1 by 3 or 33%.
Yes. So this ends our discussion on ratios, mixture, concepts, and questions.